Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are Ohio.
Roughly an hour and a half ago, we didn't know if we'd be starting on time, but my, oh my, Mother Nature's in a pretty good mood tonight, it appears, and we're set for baseball. Game 1 of 3, the high-flying Colorado Rockies come to town to take on the Cincinnati Reds. And hi again, everybody. Look who's in town. The High Plains Drifter himself, the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley, and Jeff Picorro is standing by. Jim Day a little under the weather tonight, so we hope he's feeling better. I'm Tom Brenneman. Great to have you with us. Let's get right to us. I mean, you talk about bringing energy to the ballpark, our IGS energy to the ballpark. These Colorado Rockies, they are rolling.
I don't think anybody, Tom, saw that the Colorado Rockies would be in first place at this point in time. Giants maybe, Dodgers maybe, Colorado Rockies, best record in the National League. They've done it not only with that vaunted offense, but they've got some awfully good bullpen work and some young starting pitching that is really starting to develop.
And you see that road ERA barely over 3, best in all of Major League Baseball. Let's talk about the starting pitchers tonight. Mr. Bonilla. He got a chance finally to start a major league game in San Francisco last week, his first ever as a Red, and he was extremely impressive.
Yeah, how'd you like it if Brian Price comes to you and said, all right, son, you've got 110 pitches. They can be in the first or they can be spread out throughout the rest of the ball game. Outstanding performance by Luis Alberto Bonilla. He pitched the entire ball game. The Reds just could not get the job done on the offensive side against Matt Moore.
All right, now pitching against him, a one-time #1 pick. He dealt with a lot of injuries the last couple of years, is left-hander Tyler Anderson.
They love this kid's aggressiveness, Tom. He's not afraid of the moment. He's starting to get some extra velocity. The numbers don't look so enticing right now. This kid's got a great cutter. He's starting to use the changeup more, but the one thing that you will see is aggressiveness with the fastball.
All right, when we return, we're going to check in with Jeff Picorro downstairs, two of the top leadoff hitters in all of baseball getting together in this series, Billy Hamilton and Charlie Blackmon. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio.
Was brought to you by Chevy. Check out our award-winning lineup only at your tri-state Chevy dealers. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time.
Hey Reds fans, local 12 News meteorologist John Gum here with you tonight. Reds back in town, and hopefully a little home cooking is what they need to get back on track tonight. Now, for this game, we do expect scattered storms around, especially early in the game. A few of those could even be on the strong side. Here's the good news, though. As the game goes on, the chance for storms will drop as temperatures fall through the 70s. While I can't rule out a delay, I'm hopeful that they get this one in tonight. Enjoy the game right here on Fox Sports Ohio.
Ready to play baseball. It's time now for our Elk and Elk storylines. And our storyline tonight is the leadoff hitters. And you've got two great ones on both teams. Who would you rather have this season, Charlie Blackmon or Billy Hamilton? Average-wise, Charlie wins it there on base at 356, clipped to 309 for Billy. Extra base hits, Blackmon has a little more pop and 31 RBI. Runs are pretty much even, but when you get to the bottom, stolen bases, well, Billy can run like a rabbit on those base paths. 20 stolen bases this year to just 2 for Charlie Blackmon. So it is a battle of two of the top leadoff hitters in all of baseball tonight. It should be a fun game to watch those two, because as those two set the table, the rest of the team kind of follows them. When Billy gets on base, this offense of the Reds is much, much better. So we'll be watching that all night tonight. Stay with us when we come back. The lineups and the first pitch in game 1 of 3 between your Reds and the Colorado Rockies.
Start as a Cincinnati Red is Luis Alberto Bonilla. And what an outing he had against the Giants last Saturday. Yes, it was a losing decision, but a complete game. 8 innings, allowed 3 earned runs. We look at the Colorado Rockies starting lineup presented by Menards under Bud Black. Blackmon in center, LeMahieu at second. The great Arenado down at third. Mark Reynolds at first. Gonzalez in righty and Desmond in left. Amarista the shortstop. Walters catching. And he'll be catching the left-hander Tyler Anderson. Some of the numbers for Bonilla. He's only pitched in 2 games, and one of them a start, the other game a relief appearance.
Weather the storm, and I'm not talking about rain here tonight. I'm talking about these bats early in the lineup. The Rockies try to jump on you early, and he'll have to get through that first time in the lineup.
You know, it's interesting. When we saw Bonilla in spring training, he was quite wild, but that has not been his track record as a young pitcher. In fact, in 2016, last year, once he got healthy with the Dodger organization in AA and AAA, in 13 starts, his strikeout to walk ratio was better than 3.5 to 1. He had a very low ERA. He had a solid year last year, but the Dodgers are certainly bunched up with a lot of good pitching. And he jumps ahead 0-2 on Charlie Blackmon.
I don't think the Rockies know a whole lot about Bonilla. And if he can change speeds and give him a little bit of off-speed stuff in the strike zone early, it may benefit him as he goes through the lineup the second time.
0-2 on Blackmon, having an outstanding year. This one into straightaway center. Billy racing back, and that is up against the wall. So on an 0-2 pitch, the beat goes on for Charlie Blackmon. That is his 25th extra base hit of this season. 9 homers, now 10 doubles and 6 triples, which lead the league.
Well, you can see Barnhart setting off the plate, and the breaking ball is right in the middle of the plate. Not exactly where you want the 0-2 pitch. Look, this Rockies lineup doesn't come to the plate to take. They're up there and they're swinging the bats and they want to drive the baseball.
You know, normally every year the Rockies are in the top 1, 2, maybe 3 in the league in runs scored, still playing at mile high altitude, of course, even using the humidors we have for nearly a decade now. But you know, this isn't a bruising offense. I mean, they're 5th as far as runs scored in the league, so they're scoring runs. And now LeMahieu hit with a pitch, and all of a sudden,
the storm
after being
is
ahead 0-2 and 0-1, the storm is brewing. 2 on, nobody out.
Two-seam fastball, and it just flat gets away from Bonilla. Not exactly the guy you want to face with runners on in the first inning. Hitting over 500 in the first inning is Nolan Arenado.
Back-to-back years has won the Silver Slugger. Led the National League with 41 home runs last year and 133 runs batted in. Nolan Arenado. In each of the last 2 years, he's knocked in 130 and 133 runs. Look at those numbers in the first inning for Mr. Arenado. He's also considered to be the elite defender at third base. He's won 4 straight Gold Glove awards. He's simply one of the best players in the game today. Arenado and Carlos Gonzalez are the 2 guys through the years that have just done major damage to the Reds, whether it's in Denver or here at Great American Ballpark. 1-2.
Well, after that swing, I might want to keep that ball right on the outside part of the plate.
Two on, nobody out. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Arenado. A line drive knocked down by Votto, but it trickles into right field, and they're loaded with nobody out. So on an 0-2 pitch, a double. An 0-1 pitch, he hits a batter, and on a 1-2 pitch, that'll be scored a base hit.
When you have the advantage in your favor as a pitcher, when you're ahead in the count, as you mentioned, 0-2, 1-2, you want to make the hitter go off the plate to hit the baseball. Those last 2 pitches have been on the plate.
Mark Reynolds, a .319 batter, 12 home runs and 35 runs batted in.
You know, talking to Buddy Black before the game, Mark Reynolds was signed to be a bench player. He's got 12 home runs and 3rd in the league in RBIs. You got to play him. He's hitting 4th.
Of course, he had a number of years, one of the big sluggers in the National League, initially coming up with Arizona. He does a lot of that, a ton of swinging and missing. He has struck out 4 different seasons in his career when he was playing every day with the Diamondbacks, over 200 times. But you know, the flip side, a lot like Adam Dunn, he has 44 home runs one year, 32, 37. Has over 260 major league home runs.
Well, there's no doubt that when Reynolds comes to the plate, if it's close, he wants to swing, especially in this type of situation with runners aboard.
They're loaded for Colorado with nobody out. And a soft liner into right. It'll fall in a hit. So a run scores. It's 1-0 Rockies, and they're still loaded with nobody out.
You can see where Barnhart's setting. He's setting on the outside corner. A 2-seamer starts out there, which looks all fine and good, but it's all about where the ball ends up, and it ends up middle in, right in a spot where Mark Reynolds can handle it.
So here is the aforementioned Carlos Gonzalez. Off to a terrible start. He's been among the best offensive players in the league for the last 7-8 years, and this one in the air to short right. Kiblahan will make the catch. A throw will go into the cutoff man. That's a sac fly RBI, and it's 2-0 Rockies.
I think you've got to consider that a success. The way Gonzalez is hit in this ballpark. I know he drove in a run, but he's out.
And at least you get that first out of the inning. And now, of course, Bonilla hoping to put a double play ball on the board and get out of this inning. Fastball down low to Ian Desmond. 299 batter, 2 home runs and 9 runs batted in. We saw him for years and years and years, of course, with the Washington Nationals. Played very good baseball for them for a long time. (2-0).
And you look at this club, Tom, and I mentioned it earlier with Mark Reynolds. Ian Desmond was signed to play first base. He got hurt at the beginning of the season. Mark Reynolds has come on like gangbusters. So Reynolds is now playing first and Desmond's playing left field. And this is a guy that was a former shortstop with the Nationals. Play all over the place.
2-0 to Desmond. He was an all-star last year, his only year after leaving Washington, playing for the Texas Rangers. Hit .285, 22 home runs, drove in nearly 90. It's a young man who had a chance to sign a long-term deal to stay in Washington. Turned it down. I mean, a lucrative deal. Turned it down, and now is working on his 3rd team in the last 3 years.
Well, I think that the reality check of not getting the long-term deal in free agency really put a chip on this kid's shoulder, because he put up a phenomenal year in Texas last year, and that has a tendency to do that. Okay, I'll show you I can play, and he did.
2-1 on Ian Desmond, and in there a strike. They're on the corners, 2 runs home, 1 out in the first inning, in the first game of 3 between the Reds and the Rockies. And there's a swing and a miss. That's a good pitch right there by Bonilla.
A high changeup call on the previous pitch. Now this is where you want a 2-strike pitch. Starts on the plate and gets off the plate. Desmond saw that as a fastball. He was way out in front of that changeup.
Desmond a strikeout now in each of his last 6 games. And here's Alexi Amarista. Bud Black knew all about him, managing him when he came to the big leagues in San Diego. He really likes the versatility of this young middle infielder.
Well, Tom, if Bonilla can get out of this with 2 runs after the first 4 batters reached, I would say that's a success.
Bottom fell out of that pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike. See what the Rockies have done with 2 outs and runners in scoring position. 293. Look at the gap between the top 2 and then number 3 New York. The Reds in at 4th.
And you look at some of the swings that the Rockies are taking here early in this ball game. They're not getting cheated. And that's the advantage of playing in Colorado. You swing. You're not up there to walk.
1 ball and 2 strikes. And we'll do it again. Rockies had to play a doubleheader yesterday. They were rained out 2 days ago in Minneapolis. So they played a day-night doubleheader. They did not get into Cincinnati and get into their hotel room until well after 3 o'clock in the morning. But it's the same kind of story. Remember the Yankees a couple of weeks ago. They got in here at 6 o'clock in the morning. Scored 3-4 runs in the very first inning of game 1. That one into left field, and that will end the inning. So the first 4 reach, but only 2 score in the inning. Reds are coming up, trailing 2-0. Of the first inning, trailing 2-0. Let's take a look at Brian Price's starting lineup presented by Menards. Billy, then Zach Cozart and Joey Votto. Duvall in left, Suarez at third, Peraza at second, Kivlahan a rare start out in right, a rare night off for the left-handed batting Shevlin. Barnhart catching Bonilla. And the Mazda numbers on left-hander Tyler Anderson, who makes his 9th start of this season.
Made 19 starts last year for the Rockies and threw the ball pretty well, a 3.54 ERA. But for a kid coming back from basically a broken elbow, he's starting to get his velocity back. Well, when you get your velocity back, you start feeling good about yourself, then you want to throw your fastball even more. So look for a lot of high fastballs, especially for especially when he gets 2 strikes on a Reds batter.
It is rare to see any pitcher, especially a Colorado pitcher, fare worse on the road than they do in Denver. But that has been the story so far this year for Anderson. His ERA is nearly 8 runs per 9 innings. In his 4 road starts this year, he's pitched 19 innings and given up 17 runs.
Dreaming? All right, I'm here.
Billy Hamilton at 261. Has a 20 stolen bases, is quickly behind no balls and 2 strikes. Well, you look at the Reds on their just completed road trip. They scored 24 runs in the 7 games. They hit under 250 and they did not walk a lot. Hamilton had 9 hits and 30 at bats. Only had 1 stolen base and scored 6 runs. Now he's reached base safely in a career high 18 consecutive games. That's tied for the 4th longest active streak in the major leagues. His teammate Joey Votto has been on base 21 consecutive games.
You watch Anderson as he delivers the ball to the plate. Watch this little leg kick, a little bit of twist as he comes to the plate, and that's one of those things that can throw off a hitter. It's almost Clayton Kershaw-ish. Tough to time the first go round.
Hamilton on swinging, and this is the first ever start for Tyler Anderson against these Reds hitters.
Changeup, and that has really been the pitch that has helped Anderson in his last 2 starts. Fastball, cutter, normal pitches for him. Bud Black always a changeup pitcher. He's their manager. He's really emphasized throwing the changeup. Struck out 10 batters 2 starts ago against the Diamondbacks. Pitched awfully well in his last start against the Dodgers.
Zach Cozart checks in at 352. His batting average. 18 runs batted in. Has 11 doubles. 7 hits in his last 15 at bats. I mean, he ranks among the National League leaders with that average and triples, on base percentage, slugging percentage, 8th best. What a start it's been for Zach Cozart.
You look at the 2 and 3 in the Reds lineup with Joey Votto and Zach Cozart. I mean, that's, I don't know that you get a whole lot better than that. I mean, both of them making awfully good contact with consistency.
Oh, and the problem you had on the last road trip is those guys, along with Billy, were getting on base the entire trip. The problem was the next 3 hitters in the lineup. We talked about it yesterday going into the game against the Cubs, and in that game Duvall knocked in 2 and Suarez had a couple of runs batted in, but they had knocked in 1 run among that trio. 1 run through 4 games in San Francisco and the first 2 games against the Cubs, and that was a solo home run by Shevler. Tapper back to the mound, and that's out number 2. We look at the Rockies on defense, presented by Ford. Desmond out in left field tonight. Blackman in center. Cargo, they call Carlos Gonzalez, out in right. They really love their infield defense. LeMahieu, a Gold Glove winner at second. Arenado, a 4-time Gold Glove winner at third. And Walters has done a nice job behind the plate. Here's Votto with 2 down and nobody on. 2-0 Colorado. We're in the first inning.
Well, I would think for the Rockies, with this vaunted offense, and you look at the position players that are out into the field, the way they swing the bats, you really just want your catcher to take care of your pitchers, calling the game, making sure they're comfortable, and offense is just extra.
And their regular catcher, Tom Murphy, they thought would be the regular guy catching each and every game. By and large, the entire year has been on the disabled list for quite a while, and they're very excited about the job that Walters has done. 2-1 on Votto. In fact, it's interesting when you look at these 2 teams. You know, the Reds with Homer Bailey and Anthony DeSclafani both hurt. The top two pitchers in the Colorado rotation on paper before the year began have missed virtually the entire year, and Jim Gray and Chad Bettis with cancer and dealing with that and on the way back and so forth. The difference has been John Gray. I'm sorry. The difference has been the Rockies' young pitchers have done what they hoped they would do, whereas the Reds' young pitchers outside of Amir Garrett simply have not.
Well, the one thing that the Rockies young pitchers have not done is what just happened there, is walking a lot of batters. If you're in Colorado, you walk batters, you're going to have double-digit runs given up.
So the inning continues now for Adam Duvall. First pitch fastball, and there's a strike. And by the way, I mentioned Chad Bettis going through the testicular cancer diagnosis that he learned about 2 months after the season ended last year. He's coming along very, very well. Thank God for that. And they expect to have him back by the All-Star break, if not before then. So that's great news.
Amen.
One ball and one strike on Duvall, and it's fouled out of play. You were talking before the game. You had that excellent interview with Bud Black during Reds Live, and this was a guy who really was your mentor.
Really was just a very encouraging presence, even though when he was with the Giants, it was at the end of his career. It was at the beginning of my career. But just such an encouragement all the time. Even when you were having a tough time as a young player, he would always come in. Hey, how do you do it? Hey, you got it. You got it, big guy. You got it. And I think he does the same thing with these players now. And I know he does it with the young pitchers.
One and two on Duvall, and a bouncing ball to Arenado, and that'll be all for the Reds in the opening inning. A man left, 2-0 Rockies at the end of one.
Premium is back and better than ever. Watch every out-of-market regular season game live on over 400 supported devices. Plus, get a free subscription to @Bat Premium, the #1 app for live baseball. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details. Good day today, gentlemen, for Devin Mesoraco. He tested that hamstring full speed.
Well, that is very good news because the Reds have been without him since he injured that hamstring. And apparently this is what it looked like before the game today when they were testing that out, because Cowboy, they weren't going to wait around long this time.
Now, I know that he ran yesterday in Chicago and it was better, but it wasn't 100%. And if you can run the bases and make the turns and it feels good, you're good to go. Well, you feel for the guy. It just seems like every time you turn around, something is happening. You'd like to just get him back in the lineup and just let him play baseball.
0-2 on Walters, a catcher, and that's a soft liner knockdown. Plenty of time with that catcher running and the flip underhand of Votto. 1 out. We look at the Reds on defense, presented by Ford and regular group. It's been pretty much day in and day out all year long. The lone exception tonight would be in right field. Schebler, the left-handed hitter, off, giving Kivlahan a chance for a start in right field. I tell you, there's a group of these players. You have Cozart, Suarez, Duvall, Votto, Peraza, that basically have had zero.
They've been.
I don't mean days off. I mean innings off, and that includes that 17-inning marathon where what Duvall, Suarez, Cozart, Peraza, and Votto played the entire game. Hamilton would have. In fact, he did. Come to think of it, he had the injured calf, but he stayed in the game.
If you look back after that ball game, the Reds haven't won since.
It's funny how those things can, you know, catapult the team into really getting on a good run one way or drop them the other way. We recalled, you know, it was the longest game in that ballpark since an 18-inning game in 2001 between the Giants and the Arizona Diamondbacks, and I had pointed out that that game was the game most people feel like had the Arizona Diamondbacks on so many multiple levels believing that they were the best team in all of baseball in that 18-inning game, and they wound up finding a starting pitcher, a journeyman at the time named Miguel Batista, who had won back-to-back games out of the bullpen in that series, including the 18-inning game. And Batista wound up being a guy who started Game 4 of the World Series at Yankee Stadium and pitched into the 8th inning and didn't give up a single run.
It's amazing what something like that, just from a confidence perspective, can do. You have confidence in this game, it gives you a little bit of momentum, and you tend to get on a roll.
And meanwhile, Bonilla has just walked the starting pitcher. So he's hit a batter and walked a batter. And now back to the top of the order. He got ahead of Charlie Blackmon leading off the game. No balls and 2 strikes before Blackmon doubled over Hamilton's head and center. Well, they've been playing a long time through terrible weather, stopping play in Chicago's Wrigley Field today. When we were there yesterday, the temperature was 80 degrees. It could not have been a more perfect day, but they knew what was coming behind it. And man, did it show up today. Temperature was less than 50 degrees, raining. They're in the 9th inning of that game that started at 2:20 Eastern time. And the Brewers are taking it to the Cubs 6-3 in the 9th. If any team that should not be surprised at how well Milwaukee is playing would be these Reds.
Well, Charlie Blackmon's got the rough look going, doesn't he?
Well, he looks like he's a Colorado man. Living up in the mountains somewhere.
Mountain man.
You know, maybe he just tunes out in the winter and goes somewhere where you can only get there on a snowmobile or cowboy. You know how it goes. Maybe a horse. Just writes and reflects a little bit. What do you think?
It's all in how you feel.
Does a little whittling. There's a pop up. That's a good pitch there. Fastball in on the hands, and that's out number 2 in the inning. You ever done any whittling, Cowboy?
I've done some whittling.
He looks like that kind of guy, doesn't he, Blackman?
I don't know that I would say whittling. I'd say more chopping down trees and building a log cabin.
Yeah, but you got to pass the time when you get finished with all that hard work, and a little whittling keeps your hands strong. As our old friend Steve Lyons used to say, you know, Blackman, that hairdo. Business in the front and party in the back. You had one of those.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did. I can't talk. Did you ever go with a mullet when you were?
Oh yeah, of course. Everybody did. It's our age, right?
Yeah, I would think. I could still do it now.
I know you could. I mean, you know, it wouldn't take much.
No.
You ought to consider that.
I know you'd really love.
I mean,
that.
during the baseball season, when you got back home to your family and everybody, you probably have to get it looking good. But a little mullet during the baseball season might be a good look.
I don't think so.
2-2 to LeMahieu.
That's one of those been there, done that. Ain't going back.
Two and two the count, and a fastball just missing, running the count full on DJ LeMahieu. This guy's turned himself into a nice player.
Really has. Likes to drive the ball into right center field, but where he's really impressed is in the field. I mean, he is a big second baseman.
Suarez charging. Picks it up. Good throw on the run, and that's it. So a good second inning for Bonilla. Reds will bat trailing by 2. And now, well, he's thrown the ball his last 2 outings after getting off to a very shaky start through his front 6. And Jeff caught up with Bud Black and asked him about the overall starting pitching from this young Colorado staff.
I think the thing that stands out for us is that the spirit that these guys bring, the energy, willingness to learn. And it's sort of cool to help young pitchers, man. It's great. And these guys are great listeners, and they're trying to really apply, what we're trying to help them with. And it's cool to watch them develop.
Willingness to listen. That's the toughest part, I think, for a young pitcher, because you come up with a set of tools that you've been comfortable with for the first 22, 23 years of your life, and now you're asked to branch out a little bit, and sometimes that branching out can be a little scary. That goes back to the changeup for this kid, Tyler Anderson. Not a pitch that he was real comfortable with in the beginning. Now it's become something of a staple.
Reds coming to bat here in the second inning against Anderson. He issued a 2-out walk to Votto in the first, but no damage done. Colorado scored twice in the top of the first inning. Eugenio Suarez, a 1-0 count, and now ball strike. Suarez, along with Duvall, we talked about how quiet they were offensively up until the last 2 days. Suarez had 2 hits yesterday, and his final at bat in the second game of the Cubs, he had a 2-run double. So maybe starting to get it going again, and the Reds need him.
Not something I normally see Suarez do. You look at the bottom of his bat, there's actually a space between his hands and the bottom of the bat. He has choked up with 2 strikes.
And he muscles that one into center field. That'll be a leadoff single by Suarez. First Reds hit of the night.
Now granted, that ball was not hit very hard, but if you're not choked up, that ball hits another inch down on the label, and instead of a looping liner into center field, it ends up being just a dribbler right there where the shortstop can make the play. With a wooden bat, it's all where you make contact.
Oh, 0-1 on Jose Peraza. Checks in at .250 with 10 runs batted in without a home run. Looking like a pretty good move right there from Anderson.
Well, you could see a little tentative going back to the bag by Suarez, and he didn't dive back. He had to scramble back. Is he got? Oh, yeah, he is. It's one thing to get picked off when you dive back quickly. It's another thing to get picked off when you're fooled by the move and you're standing up and he just tags you.
The Reds played great baseball on their last homestand, and they're hoping they can end this 6-game losing streak, getting back on the home front here tonight. You may remember the last time we were at Great American Ballpark. The Reds beat the Pirates 3 out of 4. They swept the Giants and then split a 2-game series with the New York Yankees. It's been a very streaky team. On the road, where the first road trip of the year, they played very well after struggling at home the first homestand. But really, they've been streaky. It doesn't matter home or road in stretches. They started off going 7-2. Then they lost 11 of 14. They won 7 of 9. And now they've lost 6 in a row to slip to 2 games under 500. That's in the air to short center. 1 out.
And this is not really a surprise to me, the ups and downs. When you have a young ball club, they feed off the momentum of winning. But when you lose, and then you lose 2 in a row, 3 in a row, you start to feel the pressure and you're not able to figure a way out of it. That's what makes a big league club with veterans so important, because you lose today, tomorrow's a new day, and you figure out how to turn the page. For young players, it tends to linger a little longer.
1 on 1 out for Patrick Kivlahan, and it's in there, strike 1. Sixth start of the year tonight for Kivlahan. 5 of the 6 in right field, made 1 start in left. Last started Saturday in San Francisco and went 0 for 4.
I think for a young player, especially young experience-wise, Kivlahan's in one of the toughest spots you can be in. You make the club, everybody's excited. You had a good spring training. Now you don't play for 10 days. Then you come in and you got to face somebody throwing 98 miles an hour.
High bouncer. They get 1. That's all they're going to get. Kivlahan runs pretty well, and they'll be 2 away in the inning. Kroger and the Reds are once again proud to team up to offer you a great value at the ballpark. It's called the Kroger Meal Deal. You really ought to check it out. At various concession stands around the ballpark, Kroger Meal Deal includes a hot dog, a bag of chips, a 16-ounce Coke, and during this homestand, Crave Jerky. Make sure to get your Kroger Meal Deal next time you're at the ballpark. I mean, it's $9 for all that. Tucker Barnhart will bat with 1 on and 2 out. You know, there's one guy on this team you feel bad for. It's Barnhart. And I mean, look, it's all relative about feeling bad for somebody. He's a Major League Baseball player making great money, getting paid to play a game. So in the grand scheme of things, please understand where we're coming from. But this is a guy that basically the last 2 years has really played excellent baseball and has put himself in a position where I think a lot of folks, not only Reds, but other teams, look at him as a bona fide everyday catcher now in the major leagues. And with Mesoraco coming back and playing from time to time, you know, Barnhart has lost a lot of that regular time behind the dish, and they nearly pick off Kivlahan after almost picking off Suarez a moment ago.
Well, the move from Anderson evidently is pretty good, as he has now fooled 2 of the Reds base runners. Watch Kivlahan. He just did get that right hand in there. Well, let's flip the side, going back to Barnhart. Flip him over to the Rockies dugout. He's their everyday catcher. Every day.
I think there are a lot of teams that Tucker Barnhart, if they gave him a chance and watched him play, I think he'd be a regular catcher for a lot of teams.
I agree. Reds are fortunate they have 2 everyday guys. There it is again. When you dive back into first and you're spinning your spikes in the dirt, that means you did not read the move very well, And that's happened now 3 times. Once to Suarez, twice to Kiblahan.
Two balls and 2 strikes on Barnhart. Looked the number up a minute ago. Barnhart knocked in 51 runs last year, and that's batting in that 8th spot by and large the entire year. His batting average was much better, on base percentage much better than most people probably would have predicted based on the way he hit, or really the way he didn't hit more accurately in his minor league career. Arenado will go the short way, and that's all for the Reds. Second, they get their first hit, they leave a man. We've only played 2-0 Rockies in front.
Every game here on Fox Sports Ohio. Tune in for Reds Live, the pregame show brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. And it'll be myself and Jim Day at 3:30 tomorrow. And tomorrow's probables, Antonio Senzatella at 8 starts this year, 6-1. And he's going up against Tim Adelman. Adelman at 2-2 with that 527 earned run average. Yes, Adelman is okay after his short outing the last time. He went through his bullpen, had no pain, and he is slated to start tomorrow and ready to go. Todd, Cowboy, back to you.
Pick, thank you. Adelman having to leave after 1 inning on Sunday with some kind of twinge of some kind in his neck. He was bouncing around pretty good yesterday afternoon at Wrigley Field and then on the plane last night. So as Pick mentioned, one would assume he'll be ready to pitch. But Senzatella, meanwhile, has had a fantastic start. He's one of those young pitchers we were talking about earlier that you know, the Rockies, I mean, they'd see some of these guys for a handful of games last year, you know, 7 games last year in his case, and they thought he had a chance to be a good pitcher. Well, he's been better than that so far, along with Kyle Freeland. Freeland's ERA at 3.13. Senzatella at 3.31. I mean, they both rank in the top 10 in the National League. Forget that they're rookies. As Arenado has gone on strikes to begin the Colorado third.
Change up, an awfully good pitch to this power hitting Rocky lineup. And you could see that change start just a bit off the plate, come middle away, but by the time it got to the hit zone, Arenado had already committed, thinking fastball.
Came right back with a 93-mile-per-hour fastball. First pitch to Reynolds, who just looped one into right field his first time up for a hit. You know, the Rockies did not knock the cover off the ball in that first inning. Bonilla hit a batter on a 2-strike pitch, which hurt him. Or on an 0-1 pitch, I beg your pardon. Second batter of the inning. Blackman's ball was smoked, but everything else just found a hole. The other 2 hits. 0-2 on Reynolds. Final from Wrigley Field. They finally wrapped that thing up. Brewers 6, Cubs 3. Final score. So the division leading Brewers have the second most wins among all National League teams. You have Colorado with 26, Milwaukee and the Washington Nationals each with 25 wins. No one saw that coming, except for maybe the Reds, the way the Brewers have played against them. What, 7 of their wins have come against the Reds.
Eric Thames. Boom.
There are the Central Division standings. 25-18, 7 over for Craig Counsell's team. Cardinals will play at home later tonight against the Giants, and there's ball 4 to Reynolds on a 3-2 pitch.
Had Reynolds in an 0-2 hole. Tried to get him to chase a couple of pitches, unable to execute, and then got a little bit too fine after he got to the 2-ball 2-strike count. This guy might be hitting 210 coming into today, Carlos Gonzalez, but he is dangerous every time he steps to the plate.
There you see his numbers in 45 career games against the Reds. Has knocked in nearly a run per game. And really in the last couple of years he's been even better than that. Since 2015, in the 12 games he's played against the Reds, he has 2 or more hits in 8 of those games. A batting average of well over 400. And in the last 12 games against the Reds, he has 7 home runs and 15 runs batted in. But off to a dreadful start here in 2017. Can you imagine what Colorado would be doing if this guy were anywhere close to what he's been?
It's all about that leg kick for Gonzalez. When he picks that front leg up, you've got to get it down in time to swing. Obviously hitting is about timing. Pitching is about disrupting that timing. But when Gonzalez is on, he gets that foot down and the bat is coming through there in a hurry. Picking that front leg up allows you to coil and gives you a little bit of extra power, a little A little bit extra hip whip, but you still got to get the foot down. And he's getting it down late right now.
2-2 on Carlos Gonzalez. 1 on, 1 out. Boy, this is moving at the speed of a glacier right now. It's already over 60 pitches in this game, or right at 60 pitches in this game for Bonilla. We're just in the 3rd inning. It's not a big deal for him, though, you get the feeling. Seems like a big, strong bull of a guy out there on the mound. You agree with that? You know, some guys you start seeing and you kind of get worried about. You know how it goes in this day and age.
Well, the only thing that I worry about with the amount of pitches here early in this ball game is having pitched a complete game, which is really not the forte of Lisalverto Bonilla. He's more of a guy that's kind of a spot starter, pitch out of the bullpen. So you wonder how the arm will respond to today. The velocity has not been a problem. Neither has the break on the pitches. It's all about control so far here in this early going for Bonilla. And he had no control issues in San Francisco.
8th pitch of this at bat. Bonilla and Gonzalez got him swinging. Let's check in with Jeff Pecoro. Pick, you had something to add to that conversation about how long we might see Bonilla here tonight.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Before the game, Brian Price told us, he said, and I'm quoting, there will not be a quick hook tonight. We need some innings out of him. Our bullpen was taxed on this last road trip. So he's coming off, as you guys said, that complete game in San Francisco, and he hopes that he can get deep into this one, but he's at 63 pitches now, guys.
All right, Pick, thank you very much. Here's a swing and a miss.
Well, things can turn around quickly as far as pitch counts, especially facing a Rockies lineup that's awfully aggressive. But you want to get first or second pitch outs quickly. High fastball there to Desmond. Chases it up and out of the zone.
Two balls and 2 strikes. A count on Ian Desmond. Got him to strike out his first time up. Bonilla shaking off Barnhart, and now the OK on this 2-2. Just low. Just a little bit low and outside.
You can see that front foot of Ian Desmond. It never quite closes up fully. And so Bonilla is continuing to try to stay away from Desmond, catch one off the end of the bat. There it is.
And that'll take care of the Rockies here in the 3rd inning. A walk, a couple of strikeouts, and a ground out. O'Neill out 2 in the 1st. Nothing since. The Toyota sign out by the PNC Power Stacks in right center field. Lenny Blevins of Cincinnati will win the beautiful new Tundra that's on display every day at Great American Ballpark, and you can register for your chance to win. Just stop by and see your Cincinnati and or Northern Kentucky Toyota dealer. Headed for the bottom of the third on really a perfect temperature night. I mean, it is just delightful out right now. No humidity, a little on the cooler side rather than being, you know, muggy or hot. 67 degrees.
It seemed like the rain cooled it off a bit.
Swing and a miss. It was a really nice day today. You're right. When the sun was shining, and it was for most of the day, it started to get warm outside. As the clouds came in, the rain came in, cooled things off quite a bit. Supposed to be a really nice weekend and moving right into the rest of this homestand, which, by the way, is only 5 days. Cleveland will be here on Monday and Tuesday, and then the Reds go to Cleveland Wednesday and Thursday. Right out in front of the plate, and Anderson will throw out Bonilla. So you take a look at the upcoming week. Mentioned home and home, 2-2 against the in-state rival Indians, and then the road trip continues with 3 games in Philadelphia, 3 in Toronto. The Reds have played a lot more home games than they have road games. They played 18 on the road. They've played now 23 at home. So that'll just about even things out or come close to it.
Well, that little leg kick pause that we mentioned earlier for Tyler Anderson, you would hope the second time through the lineup that the Reds would be able to figure out their timing at the plate. This is not something that you teach, but it is something that's awfully effective. You would never take a 10-year-old kid and say, all right, I want you to pick your knee up, son, and as you go to the plate, I want you to kick it up and down a couple of times before you release the baseball. He just happens.
Well, you know, you made the great analogy. It is Kershaw-esque.
It is. That's how Kershaw has that little pause there.
And I don't think anybody's in a hurry to change him out at Dodger Stadium.
No. And when you look at major league pitchers up here, every pitcher that's highly successful has a little uniqueness to them, whether they throw the ball real hard, sharp breaking ball. Maybe it's tenacity in some instances.
They struck out Billy Hamilton for the 2nd straight time tonight.
Another changeup, the same exact pitch that Hamilton swung through in his first at bat.
First pitch fastball in there, a strike.
You know, I was talking with Steve Foster and Buddy Black in the hallway as I was leaving the locker room today, and they were talking about the tenacity of this kid. If you remember last year, he got thrown out of a ball game here in Cincinnati.
Yep. What a pick by Arenado. You know, he almost forces himself to be on the move every time he throws. We'll get back to the point you were getting ready to make when we come back. First perfect inning of the night. Watch this guy. He always wants to be on the move when he throws the ball.
It's now time for our limited baseball break brought to you by T-Mobile. How about Marcus Stroman? First career home run yesterday versus Atlanta. And he's the first pitcher in team history with 2 extra base hits in the same season for Toronto. He also had a double. Johnny Peralta activated off the DL today. He hasn't played since April 15th with that respiratory infection. And Jason Hayward expected back tomorrow. He hadn't played since May 8th with that sprained right finger. Tom?
All right, Peck, thank you very much. Tell you, it's been pretty interesting watching what took place in that Toronto-Atlanta series. A bat flip a couple of nights ago, again by Jose Bautista. Even though it was a big spread in the game, it wasn't like his home run, and there's a ball that skips right by Peraza. That happened twice in Chicago. That'll be scored a base hit. This should not be a hit.
Now, this is normally a ball in the big leagues is caught. Hit hard, yes. Should have been caught.
So Amarista aboard to begin the Colorado 4th. Rockies scored 2 runs in the first inning. And that's the only scoring by either team tonight. So you have Walters in the pitcher spot here in the Colorado 4th.
Well, the problem here for Bonilla is you don't want to run into a situation where Walters reaches, you allow the pitcher to bunt the runners into scoring position, and then you've got the top of the order coming back. You never want to roll the order back over with guys in scoring position. That's where real damage comes into play.
Well, look at this picture. I wish you could see where we sit right now. Here we've had a cloudy night. We've had a lot of rain. Now all of a sudden, as the sun is setting into the western sky, it is shining and is broken through almost a very narrow band. There's a high fly ball on the left. It'll be handled by Duvall, and that's the first out of the inning, where almost just within our eyesight beyond the center field wall is a strip of sunshine looking into the hills of Kentucky.
It almost looks like there's a spotlight on certain areas across the river, on the bridge and then across the river.
Beautiful. None of it is hitting anywhere in the ballpark. It's too far down, as you can see there. Dropping back behind the home plate, first base side of home. But boy, is it pretty. Runner going. Little hit and run with a pitcher up there. How about that?
Well, you can do that if your pitcher can handle the bat. And you have enough confidence to know that that pitcher has the understanding that as he pulls the bat back, shorten the swing, hit the ball directly to the ground. Doesn't matter where you hit it, just get it on the ground with the guy running.
Look at those folks enjoying some of that sunshine on the River Queen. Looks like a fun night out there, doesn't it?
As long as you don't have motion sickness.
Yeah, well, yeah, that wouldn't be good. They're going to get a double play here. Barnhart just comes out of the crouch and a beautiful throw.
Outstanding.
To start a double play. Beautifully done by Tucker Barnhart. This guy's a player.
telecast is presented by authority of the Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
A little bit later on, we'll have our Miller Time moment brought to you by Miller Lite. Be nice to mix in some good red stuff tonight. Look at that, a little bit of rainbow. It's only fitting on Grateful Dead night here at the ballpark tonight. I mean, check him out.
Looking good.
I almost wonder if that's Charlie Blackmon's twin. I mean, look at that guy. Am I right or wrong? Maybe not quite the mullet that Blackmon has working, but certainly the beard.
It's a pretty good length.
Guy's looking good.
I bet he can't hit like Charlie.
Well, why not make Great American Ballpark your family day destination? This coming Sunday, thanks to Klosterman Bakery, you can get half-price Reds tickets. Enjoy live mascot races. We've got face painters here, carnival games. We got a lot going on. Kids 14 and younger. This Sunday, receive a Ricelli Glacius Fathead. You'll want to get that thanks to Miracle Grow. It's a 1:10 start Sunday. 4:10 is our start tomorrow. And I believe tomorrow we're giving away Adam Duvall Fatheads, if I'm not mistaken. Or bobbleheads. I'm sorry, bobbleheads. Adam Duvall bobblehead night tomorrow afternoon, 4:10 start. All right, 3, 4, 5 in the Reds batting order.
You know, I hear people all the time talking about Joey Votto and choking up and not able. Most guys can't drive the ball when they're choked up that much. It's about bat speed and where you make contact, and Votto is proof of that.
Down the left field line, and that's just foul for Votto. Goodness gracious. So close.
Slicing foul.
Good call. Third base umpire DJ Rayburn right on it.
Thing I love about Votto, sets the left foot in, touches home plate with his front foot, and then he sets up the same every time.
Well, they had him played perfectly there. A modified shift with the shortstop Amarista next to the bag. And Votto retired after drawing a walk his first time up. Reds only have one hit, and that was a little jam shot floater into center field by Suarez in the second inning.
Normally playing defensive shortstop, that's a base hit up the middle. You know, earlier, Tom, I was talking about the tenacity of this kid on the mound, Tyler Anderson. There are some times where he may get a little bit too worked up when he's on the mound. But I think every coach would rather have a player that is over aggressive and rein him in.
Sure.
Than a kid that's not aggressive at all and that is passive, and you're trying to kick him in gear every single day.
Well, no doubt about it. I think that's true with just about anything in life. I mean, if you're not out there and
I want to go get her.
Yeah, passion.
I want passion. I want you to go get them. and I'll teach you the rest of it. Fear is crippling. It's crippling, especially in sporting events. If you're afraid or not confident, you're not going to be successful. I don't care how hard you throw, how good your breaking ball is, how big you are.
Big shift defensively on Duvall. And that strike 3 call. That is a perfectly placed 95-mile-per-hour fastball. And that's something you brought up earlier. Anderson, after a broken elbow, is starting to get some of that velocity back.
And that's not velocity that he's seen in probably 3 years. And we didn't really see it in the first couple of innings, but as the game goes on, his arm starts to get lengthened out, starts to feel a little bit more comfortable in his rhythm on the mound. He's getting the ball to the plate in a hurry. And as you mentioned, perfect spot. And if you notice with Anderson, he gets the ball, he's coming to the plate.
Yep.
Gets the ball that comes to the plate. He's on the attack every single pitch.
He's retired the first 2, Votto and Duvall, here in the 4th inning. And here's a man who has the Reds' only hit, Suarez.
I think hitters can sense that. They can sense the fact that you're coming after them, you're aggressive, and they have a tendency to swing at more pitches that may be borderline rather than a guy that's dancing around the strike zone. An inch off the plate here, 2 over there, bounce it in the dirt. And you get more calls from a guy behind the home plate. If you're aggressive, you work quick, and you're throwing strikes, and you're coming after the batter, you might miss an inch off the plate. Hee-haw. You get a strike call.
1-2 the count on Suarez, and another foul ball. Rockies got 2 runs in the first inning. If you're just joining us, the first 4 batters in the inning reached against Bonilla. A double, a hit batter, an infield hit to load him up. Then Reynolds a single to right. A sac fly brought in a second run. High fly ball into deep left field. And it is gone. A home run by Suarez, just clearing the wall. So the Reds finally break through against Anderson and chop the lead in half.
Breaking ball up and out over the plate. And Suarez got the good part of the bat to it. You know, I go back to his first hit when he choked up. He struck out 3 times yesterday, even though he had 2 hits. He choked up. He got that single up the middle. That gives you a little bit of confidence. You get to the plate the next time, just feel like you're seeing the ball well. Drives the ball out of the ballpark.
For Suarez, that is his 8th home run of this season. And Peraza, 2-hopper, took a high bounce on the shortstop. Amarista stayed with it. But the Reds finally get on the board. A home run by Suarez. We played 4. Colorado leads 2-1.
Ohio is brought to you by Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together. By your local Ford dealer, Ford, go further. And only T-Mobile lets you stream, post, and share all things MLB. With T-Mobile One, unlimited data means unlimited baseball. And guys, good news on the pitching front. Anthony DeSclafani has been cleared to throw. It's going to be a long process for him. Brandon Finnegan threw today. Through all of his pitches as that ball is fouled off. On flat ground to Stuart Turner. He said it had some zip. And the best news of all, guys, Homer Bailey has been full go. He threw a 48-pitch bullpen this past week, followed by a 16-pitch simulated inning. He could possibly be throwing live batting practice as we speak out in Arizona. And if all goes well, he could pitch in a game in Arizona next Wednesday, the 24th. How about that?
How about that is right. It would be nice to, get 3/5 of your starting rotation, your projected starting rotation, healthy and actually on the mound for this club this year as Blackman bounces out to the right side. This Luis Alberto Bonilla, the more and more you watch him, there's some things to like about this young man. I mean, if no other reason, what he did last week and not started a game in the major leagues, and I know there were a lot of people that said he faced a Giants team, it's not a good offensive team. He pitched in a pitcher-friendly ballpark. Those two things are certainly true. You're facing a team the day after, early the next day after a 17-inning game. That certainly is true. So there's no denying any of those things. But we have seen a lot of Red starting pitchers this year under pretty good working conditions take the mound and not go 8 innings and allow 3 runs in a game. And here he is tonight. It could have turned into a game like we saw yesterday where you give up 5, or the day before when Feldman gives up 5 in the second inning, ends up giving up 7.
Well, that last pitch is what really helps Bonilla as much as anything. His ability to throw a changeup for a strike just about any time that he needs to. Fastball location, not the greatest, but he has awfully good movement with it.
And he's just picking them up and mowing them down right now.
Well, he's gotten himself into a groove. He's got this Rockies offense off balance a bit. And normally the second and third time through the lineup, the advantage is for the hitter. Well, right now for Bonilla, he's able to use his breaking ball a little bit more in the strike zone. The changeup is starting to come through, and the fastball is around the zone just enough to make the others awfully effective.
Swung on and fouled out of play by Arenado. Boy, that ball ended up staying a little closer to the line. He wound up hitting the top of the railing down there.
Ball almost came back.
It really did. There was a top of the railing moving up towards the foul pole.
If Adam Duvall was a giraffe, he'd have had it.
I like what you said about Bonilla earlier, and it's one thing that catches your eye about Wandy Peralta in a different way coming out of the bullpen. We have not seen many Reds pitchers this year, any of them, that are able to throw 3 different pitches and each of the 3 be pretty doggone good. I mean, it's only the second time we've seen Bonilla in a starting role, but we have seen 3 pitches from this guy that are pretty good.
Great evidence right there. 2-1 Arenado looking fastball. He gets the hook. That's the kind of swing you get. Now there are a lot of pitchers, especially young pitchers, that would throw a 2-1 breaking ball and throw it as hard as they can, try to start it in the middle of the plate and break it off the plate to get a swing, not for a strike. A guy like Arenado is not swinging at that. It's 3-1. Now you throw the fastball and he hits that sucker in the upper deck.
He laid off that one. That's a tough pitch to lay off of. Started in the strike zone.
Change up, just a bit down.
All right, so now a 3-2 pitch on Arenado. What's he throw him here?
He's going to throw him another changeup. And he pulled it.
That's a 2-out walk. Third walk of the game along with a hit batter. And if you weren't with us earlier, it's something we briefly mentioned, that when we saw Bonilla and when the Reds claimed him off waivers, you know, it was the first time we've ever really had a chance to get a look at him. And he was wild during spring training. I might have been nervous, new organization, whole litany of things that could have added up to that. He's 27 years old. He's been in professional baseball for 10 years. 3 different organizations before landing with the Reds. 5 total. Originally began in Philadelphia, was traded to Texas, and in 2014 as a 24-year-old he made 3 starts in the month of September with an ERA of barely over 2. But the Rangers didn't look at him as much as a prospect. He wound up hurting his elbow. He missed all of 2015. The Dodgers picked him up as a minor league free agent. And we mentioned last year, once he got healthy and the elbow strong again, he made 16 starts over the second half of the season. Strikeout to walk ratio of better than 3-1. There's a one-hopper down to third and had a very good ERA. Pirates picked him up. Now the Reds have him. And I'll tell you what, through 2 starts, they're glad they have it. Out there, and there are a lot of you out there. God bless you. Thanks to St. Elizabeth Healthcare Orthopedics. You can see the Reds take on the Cleveland Indians May the 22nd at half price. Plus, you'll get same-day admission to the Reds Hall of Fame and Museum. How are you going to beat that? For tickets, 381-REDS or visit Reds.com. And speaking of moving along, but not slowing down, apparently, the Reds and Fox Sports Ohio would love to send a very special happy 97th birthday wish today to Olive Nelson. She has been a loyal Reds TV viewer since the 1950s. Olive Nelson, 97 years young. Happy birthday, young lady. Hope you've had a wonderful day.
That's what I'm talking about.
I know Olive is believing the Reds are going to come back and win this thing. They're down 2-1. As they bat here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Kiblahan to start it. Latter third. Will be followed by Barnhart and then Bonilla.
Well, we talked about it earlier when Bonilla was on the mound facing the Rockies bottom of the lineup, how dangerous it would be to allow the bottom to get on. Pitcher bunts him in scoring position. You go right back to the top of the order. Well, the Reds have an opportunity to do just that here.
And there's a walk to begin the inning. Second walk given up by Anderson in the game. Leadoff man aboard. Well, right around the corner, the Memorial Tournament presented by Nationwide comes to beautiful Muirfield Village Golf Club. May the 29th through June the 4th. Really the kickoff to summertime here in the Buckeye State. You can order your badges at memorialbadges.com. I was just up there on Tuesday, and boy, they are ready for that tournament in a big, big way. All the big names will be there. You know, they all show up because it is a tournament. Of course, it was started and still run as the primary host by the greatest of all time, the Golden Bear himself, Jack Nicklaus.
That's one of those really easy courses, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's really easy.
Just drop in there and shoot a 72 on a whim.
Hey, the course record 61. Some play that on 9.
Kent Merker, he likes that course down.
Well, you got Merkers up there, Urban Meyer's up there, the Ohio State head football coach, but the man is Jack Nicklaus.
Oh yeah,
that's the man. Yeah, we put together a show that'll be airing, not quite sure when, but it'll be airing pretty soon. We've had a couple of them with our main man Jimmy Hanlon. You watch his golf show regularly on Fox Sports Ohio and a number of other Fox Sports regionals around the country. But we did a show the other day with Brandon Dubinsky of the Columbus Blue Jackets and Urban Meyer out on the Muirfield Village Links, talking about all kinds of different things.
Now, was Jimmy there with you?
Oh yeah. Urban was so excited. You know, he showed up on Tuesday morning and he couldn't stop talking about his son Nate, who's already committed to play baseball, as many of you know, at the University of Cincinnati. He's only a junior, but UC was hot after him, and of course that's his dad's alma mater, his mom's alma mater. He has an aunt that's a provost at UC. But the day before in the district baseball playoffs, he came up with a huge base hit in a 2-1 win. And like any dad, he couldn't have been more proud and more excited.
Now, what did you just say? His what? His
so Urban Meyer.
No, you said
Meyer.
No, you said aunt.
Yeah, well, that's my family. Instead of saying aunt, says aunt.
Oh, well, it's Aunt Sally.
Well, how do you pronounce A-U?
G-E-R?
No. Like with au gratin potatoes. That starts with A-U, right?
Right.
Okay, well.
Oh, hit him.
Oh, got him right on the hand trying to bunt. Yep. You'll take that. Hopefully he's not hurt.
Looked like he caught him on the right hand. That's never good for a pitcher. And Bud Black is going to argue the hand is part of the bat, or that it hit the bat. Oh, that's flush on the fingers. There was no bat involved there. And I'm sure Buddy, once he sees that, he'll know it did not hit the bat. And well, I think what Bud is asking is, did he punch at the baseball? If you move the bat head towards the baseball, you're making an effort to bunt the ball, and then if you miss it, even if it hits you, it's still a strike. And Buddy Black's not happy right now. I don't know that I saw him jab at the baseball. It looked like he squared around the bunt as the ball came to the plate. I mean, you can see it right here. He pulls the bat back.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
no debate about
that's a definitely moving back. And Bud Black's not going to be happy here either way, because the problem that Bud has right now is you've got the bottom of the order, first and second on base, and the top of the Reds order coming to the plate. Even though Hamilton is struck out, he's still the leadoff batter.
Anderson has struck him out twice swinging. All right, let's see what's going to take place here.
Well, he's gotten Hamilton both times via the strikeout, both times via the changeup.
Yep.
And the third time through the lineup for young Tyler Anderson, he throws the changeup almost half the time at 45%.
Nothing in one on Billy Hamilton. A leadoff walk to Kimlahan, and after a strikeout of Barnhart. Anderson hits Bonilla, trying to bunt the runner to second base.
This is a big spot for the Reds right here, especially in a 2-1 ball game. Back-to-back fastballs to begin this at bat. There's the changeup in the first at bat. No, this is not the same pitch or the same tape. It is the same pitch, and it's the same result. Will he go to it here with 2 strikes?
Kimlahan takes off for third.
Oh, that's a bad move.
So that's a strike him out, throw him out, double play to win the inning. Somebody missed a sign there, because that just doesn't add up. Running on a 2-strike pitch. Wow.
From coast to coast, it's an evening of Major League Baseball as Buster Posey and the Giants take on Matt Carpenter and the Cardinals. It's tomorrow night at 7 on Fox. Oh, we talked about Bonilla, and he piled up the pitches early. And how about in the first inning? 3 hits, a couple of earned runs, a walk, a strikeout, a hit batter. But the 4 innings since, just 1 hit, no runs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. The problem now, guys, he sits at 92 pitches as he starts the 6th inning.
All righty, well, here we go. He has pitched so beautifully here so far again tonight. I mean, 2 runs in the first inning, nothing since. And now he climbs the hill in inning number 6 to face Carlos Gonzalez. And a check swing, he went around a strike. What do you think happened that final play of the 5th inning?
I think that Kivlahan was running on his own. He did not get a very good jump. And when you haven't played in a while, when you're not out there all the time, you don't realize when you don't get a jump, you have to stop. And he didn't stop. It was a fastball away from Hamilton. So Tyler Anderson fooled Hamilton there.
Boy, how hard was that ball hit?
That ball was hit so hard it sliced away from Zach Cozart, and Cozart was in a perfect defensive position.
That's what I mean. When a ball's hit that hard and it just flew right by Cozart.
I mean, watch this ball come off the bat and watch it slice back towards Billy Hamilton.
Mike Cozart saying, who in the world hit that ball? Of course, that's a Carlos Gonzalez the Reds have seen for a long time. And you look at some of the outfielders that came up through that. This one launched down the left field line off the bat of Desmond. On his way to third is Gonzalez, and now trouble of brewing. Single and a double.
Make a phone call to the bullpen. This was one of the things I was a little worried about with Bonilla as he got deeper into the game. A hanging breaking ball in the middle of the strike zone, a fastball that was up to Carlos Gonzalez. That's a definite sign of fatigue.
Well, Jeff Pecoro just mentioned he's only 4 pitches shy of 100. And we're just underway, 2 batters into the 6th inning. He's had to use a lot of pitches.
And let's remember, he had 60 pitches back in the 3rd.
Well, that was a real good pitch right there. First pitch in on the hands of Amaristas. So here you are in the bottom pad of the batting order.
This is a good pitch if the hitter swings at it.
Right. Very well put. Yeah, they let it go. It's ball 1. Came back in there again and missed. Did take it this time.
That's the difference between those 2 pitches. The ball at the hands, it's closer to the eyes. The hitter thinks he can get the bat head to it. When it's down and in, I don't think so. Doesn't look as enticing. And that's down and in off the plate. Down and in for a strike. That's where the left-handers love it.
All right, 2 balls and a strike. The Reds have the infield in. This will be pitch number 100. Actually, Cozart is not all the way in. I don't even think a ball hit to him that he would be able to throw out Carlos Gonzalez if Gonzalez is running on contact. Fly ball to deep right field. And that baby's out of here. A 3-run home run by Alexi Amarista. And that turns what was a pretty good outing into a not so good outing. You go from 2 allowed to 5 allowed in the blink of an eye here in the 6th.
Well, it's all about fatigue. You feel like early in the ball game you've got a little juice to the fastball. You come in. Well, he misses down and in here. The exact same pitch location I was talking about earlier. This is a changeup, and it runs right into the bat head.
And now a perfect bunt by Walters, the catcher. That's a very heads-up play right there by Walters.
Well, if you've seen Tony Walters run at all, you know that he has phenomenal speed, whether he's a catcher or not. He sets in the box, perfect bunting form as he stays in the box, places the ball down the 3rd baseline. Then he lets his speed do the work for him.
Well, we've told the story many times about Walters in the past. I mean, this was a guy who was a middle infielder in the Cleveland Indians organization, and Terry Francona, kept watching this guy and, liked his baseball savvy, his baseball skills. But Francona told him point blank, said, young man, if you want to make it into the major leagues, you might want to consider putting on the catcher's gear, because it's not looking good as a second baseman. Well, naturally, I mean, if Terry Francona tells you that, he knows a thing or two about baseball players and winning baseball and guys that get to the big leagues. And well, Walters took to it right away. So what happened is, though, he got caught sort of in a log jam with all the really good looking young catchers, Gomes and Perez and all those they have there in Cleveland. And so, you know, the Rockies scouts, and that's good scouting, they had an eye on this guy and they went out and got him, and here he is.
Well, there's only so many catchers. Even if you think a guy is a future big leaguer, there's only so many catchers you can keep on your 40-man roster.
Right.
I think the key point that you made was great baseball instinct, and every catcher has to have that. Not only idea about how to swing the bat, how to play the game, but also the mental side from a guy standing on the mound. Not everybody has that, but obviously this kid does.
Two and one the count on Anderson, and he drops a bunt, and this time good enough to advance a runner. Remember the last time he bunted into a double play. Well, here it comes. Brian Price.
It's one of those spots where your pitcher runs out of gas in a hurry and you just can't get somebody loose in time.
Well, he goes 5 1/3. He'll be charged with 5 runs. It's too bad because he threw better than that line tonight. Our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen will bring on left-hander Wandy Peralta to face Charlie Blackmon. We're back in a moment. Reds, they take on the Rockies for as low as $12. And tomorrow, the first 20,000 fans in attendance receive that Adam Duvall bobblehead. We talked about that thanks to our friends at St. Elizabeth Healthcare. For tickets, visit Reds.com. And again, that is a 4:10 start tomorrow. How good has Wandy Peralta been out of the Reds bullpen as he takes over for Bonilla?
He has been about as dominant as you can get. Probably the most surprising player, he and Eugenio Suarez, in the accomplishments and the progress that they have made from last year to this year. Yeah, you wonder, Tom, if the fatigue and the combination of fatigue and getting hit in the right hand really just took Bonilla out of the game.
Very good point about getting hit by the pitch in the prior half inning. you weren't with us, here's what it looked like. That's his pitching hand. I mean, all 4 fingers, it looked like, took the brunt of that fastball.
But Peralta did not get up until really about midway through the at bat with Ian Desmond, and then once Alexi Amarista hit the ball out of the ballpark, Peralta had to get ready in a hurry.
You know, I was talking to a guy the other day that has a beard like Blackman. And we got to talking about taking care of it.
Now,
because I've never had a beard.
Was this guy living over in Terrace Park in your neighborhood?
No. He works here at the ballpark.
Okay.
And we were talking about, it's the first time he had a beard, but he's let it go for a long time. And it's not all that far off from this. And we were talking the other day, and he said, you know, it really is hard. Knocked down. That's a good play in and of itself by Suarez on that little squibber off the end of the bat to knock it down and keep the runner at second base. That'll be an infield hit for Blackman. That's a rare hit against Peralta. I mean, look at that.
That's called pulling your hands inside the baseball and just fighting it off. And you could see the spin of the baseball. It's spinning back towards the third baseline, almost a cue shot. But Charlie Blackmon trying to do anything he can just to make contact. Now tell me about this beard.
Anyway, the guy just said it's really tough to take care of because you know, I've never had any buddies that have a beard that looks like that. Well, he's grown it for the better part of a year and a half. He said it's really hard to take care of, and he was going to shave it off the next day.
I thought when you grew a beard, you just grew a beard.
I mean, you got to take care of it like your hair.
A beard? I thought you just let it grow.
Yeah, but you got to, you know, it's all the washing of it and cleaning it all the time. You know, I mean, have you ever sat next to somebody at dinner, they have a beard, and all of a sudden they got like food in it?
Does that
it's
beard,
not good. Not good at all.
Does that beard look like it's trimmed? No. That's just, that thing looks like it's got a miracle grow.
I'm just telling you what the guy told me.
All right.
You know, that's all I know about it.
I understand.
I don't know anything else about it.
I don't either.
And I'm never going to. I don't think. Who knows? I think you ought to experiment for all of us.
I've tried it.
You ought to really let one go, though, from now until maybe next couple of years, kind of like Blackman's done.
When I was in Alaska playing when I was in college, I tried to do that. I didn't like the look of it because I don't really have a top lip, and it didn't really fit.
Okay.
So I shut it down.
I still think it'd be a good look.
I know you would. Because you just want to make fun.
And I would support you if only you, in addition, much like Mr. Blackman, if you would at the same time go back to the mullet. I mean, look at that one. Now he looks like he's got a little product in that thing. There's a little shine to that one. He's got it looking good. And it's about to have some cotton candy in it.
What kind of product do you put in a beard?
Dude, I don't know. I mean, I don't know anything about it. You're the guy that had one, but that has some sheen to it.
It's not like you mousse it up.
I'm telling you, that's got something in it.
Maybe it's just the way the light's hitting it.
Now that's a good look right there. I might go with one of those.
It's a little Jerry Garcia right there.
This ball hit hard into left field. And that's up against the wall. It's going to bring in a couple of runs. And that is a 2-run double by LeMahieu on a 3-2 pitch. This is about a week worth of hits allowed for Wandy Peralta.
Looked like a changeup from Peralta. And LeMahieu As I mentioned earlier, he's a guy that likes to shoot the ball into right center field, so he keeps the bat head in the zone longer. On a changeup, it speeds his bat up a bit, but because he's concentrating on shooting the ball the other way, he's able to catch it and carry it into left field.
So that makes 6 runs all earned charged to Bonilla. 1 run charged so far to Peralta. Still only 1 out in the inning. 6 hits in this 6th inning for Colorado. It's only the 3rd hit in 32 at bats for a right-handed hitter against the lefty Wandy Peralta so far this year. You know, it's rather odd seeing Peralta even in a game like this, because it really had gotten down to, oh boy, that one is long out of here off the bat of Arenado, and that makes it a 9-1 game. 3 straight hits, 3 runs against Peralta.
Arenado drops the bat head like a left-hander. Any ball that's down and in, he covers with certainty. And this ball is in, and it's down, and it's gone.
So you got a 3-run homer and a 2-run homer for the Rockies here in the 6th inning. And what was a 2-1 game when this 6th inning began is now a 9-1 game.
But I also go back to the Reds' bottom of the 5th. They had runners at first and second base, and you get a strikeout and a throw out. It changes the entire momentum of the game. A 2-1 ball game. All of a sudden the Rockies are like, all right, let's go. And boom.
You know, the other part about it is, if you're Bonilla, and it's not to suggest, please, it's not to suggest that, you know, you're playing favorites or you're doing anything else, but look, both time this guy has taken the ball, he is known when he walked to the mound that the Reds are leaning on him for triple-digit number of pitches and as many innings as he can give them. When you're looking at a lot of these young pitchers, I think it's probably safe to say that if you had Cody Reed or Robert Stevenson or Sal Romano or any of these highly touted pitchers in the Reds organization, which Bonilla is not, I mean, they got him off waivers.
They would have
not even started the 6th inning.
Right.
They'd have been hit 4 in the bottom of the 5th.
Well, especially after getting hit in the hand with a pitch.
Yeah, and, you know, probably somewhere around 88, 90 pitches. I mean, Tim Adelman wouldn't have started the 6th inning, and he's not even one of those, you know, big prospect young pitchers, but you can pretty much take it to the bank that if that would have been Cody Reed or some of these other guys after getting hit on the hand and already at 90 pitches through 5, they probably would be out of the game.
I think he just ran out of gas. I thought he was out of gas in the 5th.
But that is a life for a young man who's trying to prove to a new organization that what he's capable of doing. And he's not going to make any excuses or anything else. He handled himself very well with the press, you know, after his last game.
It's also a byproduct of having very short starts in your last 4 or 5 ball games from starters, and you've had to just burn your bullpen night after night after night. Sooner or later, somebody's got to take the brunt of the blow as far as innings, and you push it. If you're Brian Price, you push that guy as far as you can go.
Sure.
And that's what happened here tonight.
runner will advance on to second base.
This is definitely not indicative of what we have seen from Wandy Peralta at any point in time in 2017. Peralta came into the game tonight with a 1.06 ERA. He'd only given up 6 hits in 17 innings. But there are times for every pitcher, whether you're a starter or a reliever, you come into the ball game, you don't quite have your normal stuff. You have to provide damage control, because when you give up 4 or 5 innings out of the bullpen, your ERA is going to the moon.
And this is a lot of pitches for Peralta. He's not normally around for this many. He's not become a left-handed specialist. Is obviously 2 for 32 against right-handers coming into this game would attest to that. But rarely is he around for 30 pitches, and he's knocking on that door. I started to make the comment. I was a little surprised that Wandy Peralta even came into this game after the 3-run home run to make it a 4-run game. It's not to dare suggest that, you know, you're out of the game, but Peralta had pitched himself pretty much into the situation where maybe even more so than Michael Lorenzen. If you had to break it down, Peralta would be more your 8th inning guy in front of Iglesias, but you've had to use so many of those other guys that.
Right. At this point, it's a matter of survival of the arms in the bullpen. You just had to use them so many times. The first guy that's available, and Peralta was up. He was already throwing and he was loose. And as quick as that inning happened, I mean, single, double, home run, you got to get somebody in the game.
Sure.
And that's what happened.
Check swing and a miss. Amarista, the big, or one of the big blows anyway, in this 7-run 6th inning. 2 on and nobody out. Hit a 3-run home run down near the bullpen, and now he's knocked in perhaps another run in the inning. Yep, that'll make it 10-1. Boy, this is a shellacking going on here in this Colorado 6th.
Well, it's a tough pill to swallow when you've lost 6 ball games in a row, and it's a 2-1 ball game, and all of a sudden they put a 7-spot, 8-spot on you in 1 inning.
The Rockies had 4 hits in the first 5 innings of this game. 4. They have 9 hits in this 6th inning alone. So Reynolds comes in to score. Desmond on to second. RBI by Amarista. 4 runs batted in this inning. He had 6 RBIs the whole year. Did Alexi Amarista.
This would fall into the category that you hear oftentimes around baseball. Hitting is contagious.
Well, now Michael Lorenzen will lightly begin to throw. And the Reds have been so careful, you know, hoping to get a lead where they use guys like Peralta and Lorenzen and Iglesias, but they just haven't had it. I mean, at least not much anyway during the in fact, they had a couple of those games in Chicago in the first inning. They got a home run by Cozart one night. They got an RBI single another night by Cozart in the first inning. And then, You know, one game the Cubs turn right back around and they get 5 in the first. Another game they turn right back around, get 5 in the second inning. So, I mean, you weren't even 1 or 2 innings into the game, where for the rest of the game the Reds would never have a lead. You know, the danger here that you run into is now Peralta's in a situation where maybe you might not have him available tomorrow if you do have a lead.
You may not have him tomorrow or the next day. He's coming up. He's starting to head towards 40 pitches.
I mean, Peralta is just, he's out of gas. Now, some might say, how can a guy be out of gas at 37 pitches? Well, he didn't even throw this many in a game in Arizona. So, you know, it's what you're built for oftentimes.
Well, when you're used to throwing 10 to 15 pitches, and all of a sudden you double that, and they're critical pitches. I mean, he's been getting hits, so everything is max effort, and he's lost the entire complexion of the strike zone. And right now, Mac Jenkins is just trying to see how soon Michael Lorenzen can get ready. And Lorenzen really hasn't even cut loose a pitch yet.
Well, you've used Storen for an inning in each of the last 2 days. You used Bryce for 2 1/3 a couple of days ago, but yesterday you only used Wood for an inning. Robert Stevenson only for 1 inning yesterday. And Lorenzen for an inning.
Yeah, but you're still looking at a bullpen that leads.
Oh, yeah.
The civilized world in innings pitched. And normally for a bullpen, guys are used to throwing in this day and age 1 inning at a time, maybe 2, unless you're a long man. Storen, Peralta, Lorenzen, Iglesias, they've been 1 or 2 inning guys max, and even when they've thrown 2 innings, they have not been over the 40 mark.
The prior career high in a game for Wandy Peralta was 29 pitches in an inning, and that was last year. And this will be number 43. Trying to get the final out against a pitcher in a 1-2 delivery. Got him swinging mercifully. 8 runs in the Rockies 6, and they busted this one wide open. the 6th inning after the Rockies put an 8 spot on the board. The old snowman on Grateful Dead night at the ballpark.
Well, not exactly what the doctor ordered. If you're a Reds fan, well, boy, if you're Tyler Anderson, you got to be feeling pretty good right now.
I think these guys are feeling pretty good right about now. Ready for the big fireworks show tonight. Grateful Dead soundtrack. That guy probably saw the Dead a half dozen times or more. And that might have been a month. You know, Cowboy, you may notice all those VW buses that were camped in and around the ballpark tonight, more so than normal. Ball in the air in foul territory, and off the top of the dugout, out of play. Strike one to Zach Kozar.
Those are called campers in the South.
Are they really? VW buses, Pampers?
Campers.
Oh, campers.
Campers.
They're not a camper.
Like
Come on.
Sleep in it. Get that twin bed, cut it in half, throw a sheet over it. You're looking good.
And you probably have just the tool at your house to cut that thing in half, right?
You got it.
You know, you and your buddies down there in Mississippi, I mean, you guys have something for everything. You know what I mean?
We're prepared.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're prepared. You're ready to go. Doesn't matter what might come up or what time of the day or night.
That's right. Never know when a hurricane's going to roll in.
Here's the base hit down the line. And a beat goes on for Zach Kozar.
Change up and out, over. As we talked about earlier, a lot of change-ups as the game goes on for the left-hander Tyler Anderson, and that was a change-up up and away, and Kozar just hooked it.
Now those two young guys are having a little fun. Here, Joey Votto. Strike one. Votto has walked and grounded out to the shortstop. One and two. 2 balls and 2 strikes on Votto, and he's out of there swinging. That's a first out here in the Red 6th and the 6th strikeout of the night for Tyler Anderson.
Normally left-handers on left-handers don't throw changeups. That was a changeup there, and it had Votto way out in front. A lot of left-handers feel like when they throw a changeup to a left-handed batter, the ball will run back towards the batter, towards the bat head, but that pitch just dropped straight down.
Cozart, the runner at second base, and now it'll be Adam Duvall, who's bounced into a fielder's choice and struck out. An 8-run Colorado third changed the entire complexion of this one. It was a 2-1 ball game. 8 runs in the 6th inning, the top of this 6th inning. An inning that saw the Rockies walk twice, score 8 runs on 9 hits, hit a 3-run home run and a 2-run home run. And now the Reds with a mighty large mountain to climb if they're going to avoid what would be a 7th consecutive loss. 0-2 on Duvall, and now time is called. You know, Cowboy, on this Grateful Dead night, did you grow up much of a Grateful Dead fan? We've seen a lot of T-shirts and talked a little bit about, you know, the Grateful Dead soundtrack tonight, and I feel as though I've been neglecting my duty sitting here with my partner asking you if you were much of a Deadhead fan. Have you ever seen the Grateful Dead in concert, yay or nay?
No.
You have not.
Do they play any country music?
Well, you know, there are some of their songs that I think you probably could say have a little bit of a country sound to them. I'm telling you, they're not heavy metal by any stretch of the imagination. They have a lot of their songs where it's extended just music and not singing. And they have actually a very good group of musicians there. You might like some of their stuff.
I don't think so.
Sinking liner into center. It'll fall in a base hit. They're going to wave around the runner. Here comes a throw from center. Not going to be in time. And that'll be a run scoring single by Duvall to make it a 10-2 ball game.
Looked like a cutter that stayed out over the plate. Duvall didn't hit it on the barrel, but he stayed short enough through the swing path to get enough of the good part of the bat on it to get it into center field. That's actually what allowed Cozart to score. If you hit that awfully hard and it's a one-hopper to Blackmon, you probably can't send Cozart there.
Now Suarez, who's had a nice night, a single and a home run. And you know, I should probably correct myself when you asked about country. Some of their extended sort of musical parts of many of their songs would maybe border a little closer to some bluegrass.
Well, let me clarify
more
that.
bluegrass sort of sound.
Let me clarify that.
Yeah.
Is there any twang to the singing? I take that as a no. That silence that you just gave me right there.
No, I was trying to think. You know, twang can come in I think some different forms, don't you?
The guy's name is Jerry Garcia, right?
It is.
He ain't got any twang. He's a good singer, but no.
So you even knew the guy's name. So you must have some interest in the Grateful Dead.
Because I played in San Francisco for 9 years.
Did you ever meet Jerry Garcia? He used to come to some baseball games time to time. They'd sing the national anthem out there.
I have met him, but I don't own any of that music. So how do you like me now? That would be.
So you're not sticking around tonight after the game for the fireworks and the.
If it was Toby Keith, yeah. This no.
Eric Church.
Eric Church. I'm all
Stick
over
around for that.
Oh,
Garth, naturally,
Garth,
right?
Naturally, yes.
Okay. A little George Strait.
I like George.
All right.
Jerry. That's just ice cream.
There's strike 3 called. Well, you know, you might be able to get out of here a little bit early tomorrow. We have a 4:10 start because you know he's playing across the street tomorrow night. Or down the road along the river tomorrow night is Dirk Bentley.
What was I thinking? That's a good song. I listen to that a lot when I'm coming to the ballpark.
That along with Truckin'. You know, I wish we could play it, but of course there's a lawsuit involved in everything in life now, or else we could roll out to a little Grateful Dead Truckin', right? But we're not allowed to do that. Take a look at our Honda game summary. The Rockies jumped on Bonilla in the first inning, scoring twice. But then Bonilla really got things together, worked scoreless innings in the second, third, fourth, and fifth. Suarez hit a home run in the fourth inning to make it a one-run game. And then in the fifth, with 2 on and 1 out, a strike him out, throw him out, double play. And that gave the Rockies some momentum as Bonilla began to tire. He allowed a 3-run home run to Amarista, a 2-run home run to Arenado. The Rockies wound up scoring 8 runs on 9 hits against the duo of Bonilla and Wandy Peralta. So we're off to the 7th inning. It is a 10-2 Colorado lead. The Reds have made multiple changes in and around. Joey Votto's night is over. Adam Duvall takes over at first base. The night is over for Cozart. All these guys have been logging so many innings. What with the Reds playing virtually every day, and you throw in that 17-inning game in San Francisco on Friday night. Scooter Gennett is now in left. And on the mound is Michael Lorenzen.
Yeah, you talk about the big four that have been so successful out of the Reds bullpen. One of the reasons that the Reds bullpen has been so good: Wandy Peralta, Michael Lorenzen, Drew Storen, and Raisel Iglesias. And they have been pitching the majority of the time from the 6th inning on when the Reds have had a lead. But the starting pitching as of late, it just hasn't been there. And if you don't get starting pitching, you have to use your best relievers early in a ball game, because you just can't use your long man every single day.
And here you see the last 5 games, all of course losses, and virtually non-existent has the starting pitching been in either innings or effectiveness?
That's 18 innings and 5 starts.
It's in the air to right field. Kivlahan will have room, and Blackman retired.
Now, granted, the start for Adelman had to come out because of an injury. But you look at the numbers. Look at the numbers over here. This is the number that gets you, because that means you're behind really early. It not only puts pressure on your bullpen to come in and throw scoreless innings, but it puts pressure on your offense as well.
Two 2-0 the count on DJ LeMahieu. 1 out, nobody on here in the 7th inning. LeMahieu had a 2-run double in that 8-run 6th inning. He's been on base twice, scored twice. Nice crowd on hand here tonight, this Friday night. Perfect weather night. We were very concerned about starting this game on time. It poured down, and probably where many of you are watching right now in your area. I mean, it really poured down. What, about an hour and a half before game time? Only for about 15 or 20 minutes, and it got out of here. A light rain thereafter, and grounds crew did a fabulous job getting the field ready to go, and they did it right quick.
I think the toughest thing for Reds fans to understand, Reds got off to a great start, then they had a dry spell, then all of a sudden they win 9 out of 11 ball games, and you think, boy, they are right back at it. When you have a young ball club, this is part of the growing pains. Now, as they get older, as they start to gain more experience, as you move into the second half of the year, as you move in 2018, they learn how to take those longer losing streaks and shrink them so that they're more competitive day in and day out. And you have your younger pitchers that learn how to pitch without their best stuff. And that's the most difficult part to learn for a pitcher at this level.
Hamilton makes a play on Arenado, 2 away in the inning.
Most pitchers that have made it to the big leagues have the physical tools to be able to go out and be successful. When you're throwing the ball, your fastest velocity, your location's on, my slider's right there, here comes my split finger, I'm having a great night. Well, there are going to be a lot of other nights where I throw my fastball, the velocity's not there, my slider is loopy, my split finger's non-existent, and I still have to get outs. You have to figure out how to do that. That only comes with experience and time. Growing pains, if you will. Your 10-year-old doesn't know how to drive yet. And when they're 16, they still don't know how to drive. It takes a little time.
I pass a lot of drivers on the road that look like they're in their 40s and 50s and don't know how to drive.
Maybe they need to move to AAA. And I'm not talking about.
You pass more out than I do.
I'm not talking about the auto service.
1-2 on Mark Reynolds, and he's gone swinging. That's a crisp inning for Lorenzen. 1 base runner allowed. They stand and stretch at Great American Ballpark. All Rockies so far.
song.
After each and every Reds game right here on Fox Sports Ohio, join us for the Reds Live postgame show brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. We'll have interviews, highlights, and much, much more following every game right here on Fox Sports Ohio. And stick around, maybe even see some fireworks tonight to the Grateful Dead, who Jeff Brantley has met but does not like. Tom?
And I got to tell you, Pick, I'm really surprised. I thought after all those years out in the Bay Area, where the Grateful Dead is so extraordinarily popular, that maybe some of that would have rubbed off on the Cowboy.
Well, it's not that I don't like them. I wouldn't know a song they sang from Adam.
So you might be open-minded, in other words.
Oh, I'm very open-minded as far as music goes.
Okay. All right, we got a change on the mound here for the Colorado Rockies. Taking over is Jordan Lyles. We've seen him in the past as a starter.
Yes, we have. This will be his 12th appearance. ERA almost at 8, as you can see there, that he has been their long man, trying to get him straightened out. But as I mentioned earlier, you can, when you come out of the bullpen, if you're a long guy, you could have one bad ball game and it skew your statistics for 2 months. You give up 5 runs in a game, you're not going to pitch enough innings to get your ERA down. So pitching out of the bullpen is not always measured by ERA alone.
One and two the count on Kivland, who leads things off here in the Reds' 7th inning. He'll be followed by Barnhart, and Scooter Gennett backs in the number 9 spot. Down there by Peck. Look out there, big fella. That one bouncing right by Jeff Piccoro. You know, Peck, you had that hip replaced, what, about a year ago?
I've never felt better, Tom, since that. I got the quickness back.
You do, back from your old football days at UK.
Wore me out, son.
Yeah, but you were moving pretty good there, laterally there.
Oh, yeah. All I can tell you is we beat Mississippi State 3 years.
That's a shot from the bow. Holy Moses.
Major cheap shot. What have you done for me lately?
Wow. I mean, that was a.
That's all right. When they wanted,
that was a blast.
When Kentucky wanted to get a baseball coach, where did they go? They went to Mississippi State.
He's done a pretty good job.
Yes, he has.
But they're ranked in the top 10 of the country, right? UK pick, is that right? Top 10 of the nation.
They beat Florida yesterday. I'm not sure what the score is tonight.
There's a one hopper down to Arenado. Watch this guy. Every time, it is so rare. Actually, he's out of the game now. That wasn't even him down there at third anymore, so I beg your pardon. You can just tell by the way he threw the ball.
Valleca.
Yeah, Valleca, because Arenado, and we started to bring up earlier, every time he fields a ball, he forces himself to continue to run rather than just plant like a lot of guys. You know, vintage Scott Rowland or Matt Williams, somebody like that, and then just fire. Arenado, every time he wants to make a throw, he'll go out of his way to keep moving to make the throw. Just feels more comfortable doing it.
Look, when you're at this level, it's about results. And if you have to plant every time and you airmail it in the seats, and when you're running, you throw it right on target, you run and throw.
1-0 on Tucker Barnhart. I am reminded by the producer of Reds baseball tonight, Kent Dream Weaver, that on that newly replaced hip, the hip replacement of Jeff Piccoro, that he nearly won the batting title at the Reds fantasy camp this winter.
Really? Soft toss?
Oh, crazy. Boy, you guys are brutal. I mean, I can't even get into anything with either one of you guys without, you know, throwing a punch while somebody's standing in between you.
It's pretty much soft toss, I'll tell you that.
Gullet sitting on a chair just flipping it up for you.
There's a tapper to short. 2 away. Do you go down to the fantasy camp at all, Cowboy? Do they have you come down there yet? Because I tell you, you would be a ball to have around one of those things.
Well, you know,
there's certain guys that are really fun. There are other guys that are there to kind of coach and instruct and enjoy themselves. But some people are just a lot of fun. You would be in that category.
I would go, but right now, my responsibility is being a father to a 10 and a 13-year-old. And I'm away a lot during the baseball season. So during the off season, I try to concentrate on being daddy. And I think that is my most important job.
There's no debate about that. But maybe one day down the road.
Yeah. As soon as they get out of high school, be good to go. I can't throw. I could just lead the comedy routine.
So there's a liner in the right field. So I mean, you really can't. I'm sure there are a lot of fans that are saying, does he really mean that?
I mean,
you really can't throw at all anymore.
I've had 9 surgeries. I can throw about 15 feet to my 10-year-old, and all I get from him is, come on, Daddy, throw it harder. I'm throwing it as hard as I can. Still got an arc on it. And then the next day, I can't move. 14 years in the big leagues is a long time.
Yes, it is.
That doesn't count the time it took to get there.
That one shot down the left field line off the bat of Billy Hamilton. And they're going to wave Scooter Gennett around.
Oh, boy.
Here comes the throw to the plate. It hits the runner. And Hamilton's racing toward the plate. Here's a throw there, and he's in there safely.
That'll bring them to their feet.
So the Reds played a couple of runs. And man, oh man, can that guy run. We're going to follow Billy Hamilton the entire way around the bases.
You know, if you could hook up a machine to his legs, you could probably power your house with the electricity that he creates. Check this out. Come on, Billy. Come on, Billy. I mean, this is getting it right here. If the ball is right in front of him,
that has scored a triple for Billy Hamilton, an RBI, and then a throwing error on the shortstop, which allowed him to advance third to the plate and make it a 2-run play. Not a 2-run triple, a 2-run play. And here's Alcantara for the first time tonight.
How many other players can hit the ball into the left field corner and get a triple? Left field corner, that's the closest corner to third base.
Well, 2 things are at play there. One, there aren't many guys that can run that fast to even think about going to try and attempt a triple. Secondly, a lot of guys just pull the chute.
Right.
In a 10-2 game, but Hamilton, as it was when it left his bat, he's always going all out.
Always looking to take the extra base. And takes pride in it. And even as we watched Hamilton there, he was not in high gear the entire way around to third. There were a couple of times he had a little bit of cruise control. Now, when he came from third to home, that was high gear.
Alcantara, a high bouncer down to first. And that will retire the side. Excitement from Billy Hamilton, as only he can provide. Reds are down 10-4. We're off to the 8th.
in Atlanta. Washington at Atlanta. What a bounce-back year for Matt Kemp. This is his 6th home run of the season. It's a solo shot. We're tied 4 apiece in the bottom of the 6th for Kemp. He's got 6 homers, 23 RBI, and he's hitting .336. So much for him being washed up. 4-4, bottom 6. Here in Cincinnati, 10-4. The Rockies lead over the Reds as we head to the top of the 8th inning.
All right, Pick, thank you very much. Take a look at that American League East. Yankees, the National League East, I beg your pardon. And talk about the Nationals, 25 wins. Colorado coming into play tonight at 26, the most wins in the National League. Boy, but everybody else really scuffling. That was a really interesting article written a couple of days ago. Some of you may have seen it by a writer who used to write here in Cincinnati for a long time, great baseball writer Jerry Krasnick, about the state of the New York Mets, the entire franchise, and some of the things that have gone on this year, and especially as it pertains to the conditioning of their players. You know, chronicled both Cespedes and Syndergaard, and you know, all the lifting of weights they were doing this year, and some of that video they were showing of Cespedes or something. I don't know if it was a deadlift of like something ungodly, 700 or 900 pounds or something outrageous, and all of a sudden he injures his hamstring early in the year. Iglesias on the pitch, and he's greeted by Carlos Gonzalez with a double into right center field here in the 8th inning. You know, for guys like Peralta and Lorenzen and now Iglesias, it is safe to say that, one, they're not used to pitching in games like this.
Correct.
And probably aren't crazy about pitching in games like this. It's
Correct.
Also, though, more importantly, worth saying that everybody else in that Reds bullpen outside of those 3 have had to pitch in a lot of games like this year. So tonight, for Peralta and Lorenzen and Iglesias, their manager is saying tonight you got to suck it up.
Well, there's been a few lately where Iglesias, Lorenzen, Drew Storen, Wandy Peralta have had to pitch in ball games that they were not close. The toughest part about pitching in a game that is not close is trying to manufacture the adrenaline and have that micro focus on the mitt and just try to force your mind to think it's a 1-0 ball game or a save situation, and it's very difficult to do. You do it for one batter or you do it for one pitch, and then all of a sudden it gets away from you a little bit. Especially for guys that are used to pitching in the 8th and the 9th inning, when the adrenaline is automatic and the crowd is on their feet.
Sure.
Your heart's beating through your chest, and there are guys that thrive on that. That's why they pitch late in the ball game. Now, there are other guys that don't thrive on that and fold up like a tent, and that's why they're not pitching late in the ball game.
To the count on Ian Desmond after a double by Gonzalez to open up this Colorado 8th. Lorenzen went 1 inning, allowed a walk, had a strikeout, no hits, no runs. It's pretty evident these Rockies hitters, even with a 6-run lead here in the 8th inning, they're not going to just go up there and just start flailing away at anything that comes to the plate. Gonzalez a double, and Desmond has worked this to a 3-2 count. This will not advance a runner down to third as Alcantara will throw out Ian Desmond.
You know, whenever I had to pitch in a ball game that was a little bit out of hand, and you're used to pitching 7th, 8th, 9th inning, you almost have to think to yourself, okay, I want to embarrass the hitter. I want to embarrass him. I want to make a pitch so good that it's going to embarrass the hitter. So it drives your adrenaline up. It forces you to make pitches like you would in a closing situation. Kind of like playing a game. You may be in the bullpen. You put yourself in a bases loaded situation, bottom of the ninth, game on the line. Because if you don't do that, the game will get away from you and you'll give up those 3 and 4 run innings that will absolutely destroy your numbers out of the bullpen.
Hey, by the way, Mike Cameron, one of the 2 outstanding official scorers we have here at the ballpark on a regular basis, longtime legendary high school coach at Moeller High School. There he is, Mike. He went back and made a scoring change on that Billy Hamilton play. And you know what? I think he made the right call. There's a swing and a miss. They roll that now at double. Yeah. Went to third on the throw and then scored on the ball that got by the catcher. That is the correct call. It's still an RBI, but it's a double rather than a triple.
I think that's a good scoring decision.
Of course, his Moeller Crusaders is a #1 seed. They were stunned in the tournament 2 days ago, getting shut out by Milford. What a huge win that is for that Milford program. They've been building that thing up year after year after year, and they beat a team that year after year after year is playing for a state championship in Division I, the Moeller Crusaders. It's in the air to left field. It's caught. 2 away in the inning. I believe I saw that, but we were out of town, but I try to follow that stuff pretty regularly. I think Lakota West was still alive. Mason has had a great year.
Is Billy Driesbach still the? Can't remember. He was my bullpen catcher when I was here. Pretty good coach. He put together some great years at Lakota West. Heck, he may be coaching college now.
Pull to the right side. This will be the final out of the inning, and a scoreless inning for Iglesias. Middle of the 8th, 10-4, Colorado in front.
Killer time moment tonight. We got to go back to the top of the 6th inning, and that is when Colorado broke this game open. Alexi Amarista makes it a 5-1 game with this 3-run homer. They go on to score 8 in the inning, 2 home runs in the inning, but the big blow, Alexi Amarista's 3-run homer, guys.
All right, Pick, thank you very much. Still Jordan Lyles out there on the mound. Reds bat in the bottom of the 8th inning. You know, we saw talking about some of the teams that were still alive. Lakota West, Springboro is still alive, and we're talking about Division I, along with Milford. I'm unable to pull up an entire bracket here, so I apologize if I'm leaving anybody out. Don't mean to do that. Stuart Turner.
Billy Driesbach has retired from Lakota West.
Okay.
He was their first coach. And how about this? He coached for 18 years, starting the program from scratch, never had a losing season.
How about that?
Knew his stuff, man. He was good.
Going on strikes is Turner. I know Ross is having a big time year. New Richmond, Indian Hill are both still alive in Division II. Fairfield, I knew I was forgetting somebody. Fairfield is still alive along with Butler in Division I. St. X is still alive. They'll play Lebanon tomorrow out at Western Hills High School. So these are all Division I. You got Lebanon, St. Xavier, Lakota West, Springboro. Centerville, just south of Dayton, will play Milford tomorrow. That'll be in Centerville. How does Centerville get a home game there? They're the number 3 seed, and they get a home game in a district final. Good for them. Then Fairfield plays Butler. Milford going for the win tomorrow.
So is it one loss, you're out?
One loss, one
wow.
and done. There's a bouncing ball by Duvall. 2 outs in the inning. Tell you, it's another great tournament, and you and I have talked about this sport a lot. Watching both of my kids play it is lacrosse. The lacrosse tournament going on, and a lot of great local teams. I'm a little biased, but they are the number 1 seed, and that would be Marymount playing tonight, trying to advance on for what would be a 4th trip to a state championship game in the last 5 years. But they've still got a number of games left to get to that spot.
So does the lacrosse season fall right in line with baseball?
Yeah,
or
both
is
spring
it right about the same time?
And that's men and women. The Marymount girls, I think, are the number 2 seed behind their big rival. I believe it's Indian Hill, but those were the top seeds. And in Division I, you know, St. X and Mulder are both very good every year. Mason's very good. It's fun to watch. And I tell you what, if you play that boys game, you better make sure all those pads are tight.
Yeah, I didn't really know.
That's as close to football as it gets.
I didn't really know about lacrosse until I got up here to Cincinnati. Oh boy.
Suarez lifts one into left center field, and that one will be off the wall. Looked like he tomahawked.
Got some top spin on it. Otherwise, he had his 2nd home run of the ball game. But that's his 3rd hit either way. You know, it's amazing, Tom. We talked about this back in the first at bat for Eugenio Suarez, choking up with 2 strikes. He got that jam shot single into center field. Just getting a hit to start the game, your confidence is lifted. He hits a home run the next time. He did strike out called back in the 6th, and then he smokes that ball off the wall, and that was the top of the wall.
Got a chance to be a really good player for a long time to Suarez.
He has really come leaps and bounds from 2016 to this year, not only at the plate, but even more so at third base.
We were talking about the lacrosse tournament. I talked about the #1 seed Marymount. They rolled tonight, hammered Wyoming in the district playoffs 12-1. And the girls will play tomorrow. Good luck to them. Thank Tom Nurl for that note. That ball hit 1.5 miles. And that is a fair ball and a 2-run home run for Peraza, his first home run.
Peraza hit one like that last year in San Diego, and everybody about fell out. Oh my goodness, I didn't realize that guy had that kind of power. Yes, he does, but he is so short and so quick, so concentrating on driving the ball up the middle. Well, he didn't have to worry about the middle there. The only thing he had to worry about middle was just middle in the bases. I mean, that is way back there.
And now all of a sudden, you know, here we are in the 8th inning, and what was a 10-1 ball game. The Reds have come up with a run in the 6th, 2 in the 7th, 2 more here in the 8th. That ball estimated at 436 feet.
Well, if you look at the Reds' offense, they have not been lacking. They've scored at least 5 runs now in the last 4 ball games. But when you're behind the 8 ball early, makes it a little difficult.
As they like to say, you never know. Reds still have 4 outs to play with here. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. And it looks like 3 outs to play with. We're off to the 9th. 2-run home run by Peraza, and my oh my did he hit it. End of 8. Colorado in front by 4.
story tonight's happening in Houston. It's Cleveland and Houston, and Cleveland Indians tied it 2. Jason Kipnis, the solo shot that made it 3-2, and then Lonnie Chisenhall follows in the top of the 6th with this solo shot to make it 4-2. Correa has hit a home run for Houston. We're in the bottom of the 6th right now, 4-3. The Indians hanging on against the Astros.
That's a good series here tonight down in Houston. Even though the Indians have not gotten off to the kind of start many, were expecting. Look at the Astros, 29-12, 707 winning percentage, by far the best in all of baseball, and already a 7.5 game lead. Reds will go to their bullpen again, and they will bring on Austin Bryce. What have been your impressions of this young man so far?
I've been impressed with his command. He's pitched 9 innings, has yet to walk a batter. He's only allowed 1 earned run, 5 hits. And in spring training, the wildness seemed to take away from his stuff, because he has phenomenal stuff. Great movement on the fastball, high velocity. I think the key for Bryce to be successful in the long term here in the big leagues is getting a little bit better arm slot with the breaking ball. He's got a short, tight slider, but a lot of times it stays to his arm side, which is close to the right-handed batters.
Swing and a miss, and that'll take care of Valleca to start the inning. That is not Chris Valleca, for those of you wondering. The Reds had a young man named Chris Valleca years ago.
It's his brother Pat.
That is his brother Pat.
But his brother Chris can hit, and Pat can hit. They must have had a batting cage in the backyard growing up.
There's no doubt. Or maybe a park in their backyard. So 1 away here in the 9th inning. Charlie Blackmon has gone the whole way. Blackmon with 2 hits and 5 at bats, a double, an infield hit, and has scored a run.
I think it's an even tougher look with the eye black, going with the beard and the long locks.
I mean, this guy's got it going on. I mean, he's a good player. Hard-nosed player. But, we've documented already tonight between the beard, he's a real mountain man, and the mullet. I mean, what better combination can there be than that? And then you throw in the eye black. I'm telling you, Cowboy.
Not happening.
If you would just, you said earlier you were open-minded about your music. I think you should be open-minded about the idea of the mullet.
I've already done it.
And the beard.
I've already done it. My son saw my baseball card and he said, "Daddy, that card's got your name on it. Who's the guy?" That's your dad's son.
So I guess maybe a better question would be, since you've obviously made it very clear you're not even going to consider trying it again, is if you could do it all over again, and knowing your son would ask you that question one day,
I'd do it again.
You would do it again. Party in the front, or business in the front, party in the back.
It was all over the place. You know, the thing about that is I look at it now and I think, God, what was I thinking? But back then, I thought that was bad to the bone.
You thought you were looking good.
I thought I was looking good. Walking down the street, you know, Major League Baseball player, everybody, you know, I thought everybody, oh, they're looking, they're checking out my lid. They weren't looking at me. They were probably going, look at that fool's hair.
Oh, my God.
You know, that's got to have confidence to play.
There is no doubt about it. Well, let's take a look. We understand Matt Sigafus has pulled some of this up. Now, this isn't the true mullet.
No.
No, you have the true mullet with the Giants.
When I was with the Giants, my hair was down here. Scary.
We're going to find, because there is a shot that is there on the internet, multiple shots that are available there that
I've got a picture at home releasing a baseball, and my hair is so long it's covering my face as I'm letting go of the baseball, and I'm looking at it thinking, what were you thinking about? Did you really think that looked good?
I mean, can you bring that in, or we could put that on the air tomorrow? Seriously. Well, I tell you, this Blackman just, I mean, that is a total grinded out at bat here in the 9th inning, and he's on base for the 3rd time.
Well, I told your dad this the other day. There was a guy that I played with in college and in the big leagues that told me, and he was a great hitter. No matter what the score is, no matter what's going on, never give away a pitch, never give away an at bat. And his name was Will Clark. And that's why he was as good as he was when it came down to clutch hitting. He said, if you really want to be a great hitter, it does not matter if the score is 11-2. You don't give away an at bat, because there are going to be other times where you're not going to feel good, it's not going to work, and you're going to go 0 for 4. So when you're having a good day, go 5 for 5.
Right.
The one thing about playing up here in the big league level, the other team does not feel sorry for you. If you've got your head in the dirt and you're not playing good, they want to beat your brains out.
Sure. I mean, these Rockies just keep coming at you. There's a base hit into right field by LeMahieu. That's the 4th time he's been on base tonight. And on to 3rd goes Blackman.
This is a patented DJ LeMahieu swing. Fastball away. He shoots the ball that way. That's why he was able to catch that changeup off of Peralta back in the 6th inning. Ball started in the middle of the plate, started to fade away. He's looking to drive the ball the other way, so he doesn't have the front shoulder pulled out. He stays right on the ball. When he makes contact, he jerks it right down the left field line.
First at bat for Raimel Tapia. Runner takes off for second base. He'll let him go. They have really been happy with the play of Tapia here this year.
Well, you look to the future of the Rockies. You've got Tapia, you've got David Dahl. If you lose Charlie Blackman and you lose Carlos Gonzalez, you've got some replacements that have some pretty good talent right away. Maybe not to their caliber yet.
This Colorado team trying to pick up, it would be its National League leading 27th win of the season, and right now with a 4-run lead here in the 9th inning. The Rockies have a lot of guys where they could easily use injuries as a big excuse for maybe what they're not doing. If they weren't playing so well. On swinging Tapia for the second out of the inning. The guy they had penciled in to be their everyday left fielder is David Dahl. He's on the disabled list. We talked about the two starting pitchers, John Gray and Chad Bettis. They're on the disabled list. Bettis coming back from a testicular cancer, and they hoping to have him back by the All-Star break. And then the guy they were counting on being their regular catcher in Tom Murphy. So, we know how beat up the Reds have been, especially in the pitching department. What with 3/5 of the rotation being on the DL, 2 of them have not thrown a pitch with a big league club all year long. And Bailey and DeSclafani, and Finnegan's been out since the 3rd week of the year. So, then you throw in other guys in the bullpen and guys we've seen the shuttle up and down from AAA. But these Rockies have found a way to keep it rolling. And it's primarily, as Bud Black said in his interview with Jeff Brantley before the game today, the young pitchers they were counting on and giving a chance to at least through the first month and a half of the year. And that's not an entire year. But through a month and a half of this season, their young pitchers have really delivered the goods. And their closer has been money in the bank. He's not blown a save yet. There's a 2-out hit by Reynolds. It'll bring in 1. Here comes a second run. It'll bring in 2, and that makes it 12-6.
That goes back to what I was talking about earlier about not giving up an at-bat. Mark Reynolds is known as a guy that swings for the fences. He's got runners at second and third and a chance to drive home a couple more runs. He stays inside the ball and just flips it into right field.
Carlos Gonzalez. See if Bryce can get out of this inning. Lorenzen and Iglesias, neither one scored upon tonight. Bonilla gave up 6. Peralta gave up 4. Bryce has given up 2. Anderson, the starter for the Rockies, gave up a pair. Jordan Lyles has given up 4 in his 2 innings of work. Duvall will handle the 1-hopper, and that'll be all. The Rockies get 2 more. The Reds will bat in the bottom of the 9th. 12-6 Colorado in front. Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by Kroger. Stop by your neighborhood Kroger store to save big store-wide. Great food, low prices at Kroger. By Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. And by Toyota. For over 30 offers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places. Let's go back in time.
Looking good. You know, I used to pitch with those glasses on at nighttime.
I know you did.
They are a prescription. They didn't help
You know, let's take a look at that. You really are looking good.
They didn't help me a whole lot. Hadn't shaved in a couple of days. Got that moss going all over the place.
So when you're walking around the streets of San Francisco, right?
Right.
I mean, you were looking good.
Well, that's what I thought. I soon learned that was not the case. I'll be all right.
I tell you, I think you're looking good. Jake McGee takes over on the mound.
Hey, Mississippi boy in San Francisco, you just trying to hum that Country Boy Can Survive over and over and over again.
But you did think, I mean, when you were walking around and knowing you as you look at the numbers on McGee, you really did firmly believe, I mean, with all your heart and soul, that when you threw on your jeans and your cowboy boots and started cruising around in San Francisco with that haircut, that you were really looking good.
Pumped my chest out, walk into the restaurant. I expected them to know my name.
Like you own the joint.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm. They looked at me like, what?
Did you wear the shades though when you know, like during the day they played a lot of day games at Candlestick, but they played a lot of night games. There's still a majority of night games. So during the daytime,
I wore black sunglasses. Yeah, it was over the top. Look, I made the All-Star team my second year. I played in the World Series my first year. I thought it was over. You know? You might have heard of me.
Oh, man. That is really
what
good.
Do you do? Look, if you can't laugh at yourself, then you got a problem.
You might have heard of me.
You might have heard of me.
That is really funny. Schebler, a base hit to open up the ninth inning. And now, Jeanette.
I can't tell you how many times I heard these words. You're not from around here, are you?
You mean they didn't mistake you for a Northern California guy?
Nope, but you might have heard of me. I wouldn't have known surfboard from an ironing board.
I understand. Oh my gosh. You might have heard of me.
I should write a book.
There's no doubt. But it'd have to have your humor. And you know, you'd have to get a really, really, really good writer. I think it would be a much better book as a book on tape.
Yeah.
With you as the narrator.
Well, some folks don't understand some of the language that I use.
Oh, I think they understand, though. I think all of us in our lives, as there's strike three called in Jeanette, I think all of us in our lives have been in a position and at a point in time in our lives and our age where we thought, at least temporarily,
that you're the bomb,
that we were looking good.
Yeah.
And when you look back on it now,
mine just happened to carry over quite a few years. know, you walk in the door of the restaurant, puff your chest out. Hey, everybody knows. Not heard of. No yet. Live and learn.
Oh boy.
You know, the most humbling part, though, is when your son is looking at your baseball card.
Yes.
And he says, "Who's that?" And it's got my name on it.
But did he ever say, or did your daughter ever say, because she's a little older, you know, I mean, now she's old enough now to, you know, on her way to high school here soon and that kind of thing. Is she? Did she ever look at it and say, you know, Dad, you were looking good?
No. She said, "Daddy, that's not a real good look."
That's what every teenage girl says.
Yeah.
This will be an infield hit for Billy Hamilton.
Well, LeMahieu had no choice there. The ball was hit off the end of the bat. He either had to barehand it and make a do-or-die play or live with a single. And normally in a ball game, the second baseman is cheated in anyway, but you had the runner at first base. He was playing back a little bit, actually shaded towards second for the double play ball. Not that Billy Hamilton hits into a double play very often.
Now Alcantara. Jeff Piccolo reported before the ball game today that, you know, Devin Mesoraco had gone through some running drills, some agility drills, and passed with flying colors. And he stands in the on-deck circle. It is 2-0 on Arismendi Alcantara. He bounced out to the first baseman, his only time up. And all of a sudden, this pitcher cannot find the strike zone. McGee's falling behind 3-0. You wonder at this point if the crowd that is left, a lot of them coming for the post-game fireworks. Of course, they'd love to see the Reds rally. So maybe they'll get both in the same night, those who have stayed around. Three and one on Alcantara. 2 on, 1 out. Bottom of the 9th inning. 3-2. You know, it's so rare in this day and age, and it's some credit to Alcantara. There are so many guys in a 6-run game with their team down 6 runs. 3-0, might swing 3-0. They're almost all the time going to swing 3-1. And Alcantara clearly on a 3-1 pitch was taking all the way. And, you know, you can say, well, that's the way it's supposed to be. But I think for many of you that watch baseball every single night,
you know it
has not been that way for a decade. I mean, you got guys now. 6 runs, pretty big spread. Let's be honest about it. But, you know, you might have a 4-run game where you have a fighting shot at it. And they're still hacking and swinging from their heels 3-1. No matter where the pitch is. The Reds certainly aren't rolling over here tonight. They've scored 5 of their 6 runs in the last 3 innings. And here They have a pair of hits in the bottom of the ninth, even down 6.
Well, the first 3 pitches of this at bat were out of the strike zone. The last 5 have been in the strike zone, or at least enough to where Alcantara had to make a swing.
Still 3 balls and 2 strikes on Alcantara. I really thought this young man was going to get a chance to play a little bit more than he has so far this year, especially the way he closed out. You can say, well, spring training, big deal. I think you could make an argument September, big deal, because there are a lot of guys who all of a sudden get fat in September, and then when you watch them April the next year, they're nowhere to be found. But I just thought the way this guy played with his versatility, I thought we were going to see him get a lot more spot starts to give guys days off. Now it's a long year ahead. It still might happen, but
that was the idea.
It has not happened at all. I mean, there has been no give the second baseman, give the shortstop, give the third baseman, give the right fielder.
Well, that's where Scooter Gennett has fallen in. I think when the Reds picked up Scooter Gennett at the end of spring training, it really eliminated some of those opportunities for Arizmendi Alcantara.
Well, he battled there, but he's out on strikes, and the Reds are down to their final out. Devin Mesoraco will bat. Mesoraco will be in the starting lineup tomorrow. It'll be a 4:10 start tomorrow. Tickets are available. We'd love to have you come down to the ballpark and join us. Pitching matchup tomorrow will be young Antonio Senzatella for Colorado, off to a 6-1 start with a 3.3 ERA. And Tim Adelman will try and bounce back after leaving his last start after just 1 inning against the Giants last Sunday. Understand our good buddy Jim Day is feeling much better. He was under the weather today. He didn't look very good on the plane last night.
I don't think he was feeling that well.
That's why I stayed as far away as I could from him on that plane last night, which generally is probably a pretty good idea.
Well, I'm glad he's feeling better getting back in here.
Well, I hope our director Roy Alfers is feeling okay, because he was sitting next to, if I recall, he was sitting next to Jim Day on the flight last night. So I hope that Uncle Roy, as we call him, is doing all right. Our producer of Reds baseball tonight, Kent Weaver. Our director, Brian Hunterman. Our associate producers, Jim Mueller and Kevin Penowit. And that's the old ball game. Rockies win the opener of this 3-game series 12-6. Reds Live is coming.